Welcome back to Coffin Comics Con Online. So, shall we go take a look at what everybody else is doing?
Onesies coming soon, guys, and
right now.
actually starting.
Oh, hello everyone at CBSN.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
All right, thank you everyone to the onesie segment with my lovely hostess, Lady Death. And this is our final day. This is Saturday. We're here at 2 o'clock. We are rocking it out here and getting ready to have everything that we're going to offer you. These are warehouse finds, and some of these are our final editions. No call outs. Just go ahead and click on the link. It'll bring down the menu for Saturday onesies, I believe it's going to be.
It's just going to be in the onesies
Oh,
category.
onesies category.
Yeah, and that's coming up in just a couple minutes here, guys.
We're getting everything refreshed and ready for you. I hope everyone's been enjoying all the crazy fun content we've been having here today. We started this on Thursday. It's already Saturday, and oh my God, I need more coffee. And I left it in the other room. Oh well, that's how it goes. But we're going to be doing a 45-minute segment here that will be, like I say, warehouse finds, stuff that I found digging around in the back, stuff I found in boxes that have been pulled out of storage units, and a lot of this stuff is the last of the last, so I think you're going to like a lot of things we have to offer. And whenever Nick is ready, we're going to get that link open. Again, click on the link, go to the drop-down page, and it'll be onesies.
Yeah, that's not live. We just added products to that, so.
We just added more product to it too. Holy cow, this is nuts. And then, yeah, I've also added some really cool last of our metal print editions as well. Oh, cameraman Jimmy's back. Hello, whoa, Jimmy, Extreme Jimmy. Extreme
Oh no! That's a good nickname for. That's a good extreme man.
Oh man. So we just had a wonderful lunch break. Thank you, Psycho Sean, for the great barbecue he made for us. And
Psycho!
Jalapenos. If no one, if you're ever in Phoenix, look him up. Maybe he'll make you some food. I doubt it, but I told him if I become a millionaire, I'm gonna hire him for my chef. So let's get things started. The first things we're gonna offer today. This is our last one. I found this one. This is
Okay, it's up, it's up.
a full-bodied original art piece by Joel Gomez.
Oh, yeah.
This is from the Muerta Ascension series. It's $175. No shout-outs. Click on the link. Look for the drop-down that says onesies. Shop away.
Lady Death Store.
LadyDeathStore.com.
Onesies.
You guys over there. Onesies.
Onesies category.
Onesies category. Check this out. This is an original piece. It's got some nice watercolors and inks. I highly recommend it. I wish I had one for myself. You guys are really lucky today. This one is a very fine signed edition. It's only $40. It's number 69 out of 99.
69, dude.
VF, guys. VF.
VF. It is the Dark Millennium #1. This is the Naughty edition. What do you think about that one? That looks nice.
But it is number
Beautiful.
69, even if it's VF.
And it's only $40. This is our last one. Once it's gone, it's gone. Most of this stuff is onesies. Some of these we have a couple left in stock, but not much. So once they're done, they're done. After this segment is over at 2:45, we close the vault. We stop the sales, so get in before 2:45. Next up, we have an F13. This is from the vault. This is a number 6 edition. It's $100.
Number 6!
6! Richard Ortiz is the artist on that. Again, we only made 13, and this is the number 6 edition, so this is pulled from the Coffin Comics vault. Next up, this is a 2 set. It's only $60. This is the Secrets Nice and Naughty, and they are number 66.
66.
69.
Oh my gosh, the perfect combination.
Mr. Harrigan did these 2 pieces for us.
66.
$60. This is number 66 out of 69.
Oh God, I love both
Yeah,
numbers.
beautiful pieces. And it's a 2-pack, $60. Again, if you'd like anything signed, please let us know, and Brian will be more than happy to sign any purchase you have. I'm sure if Mr. Harrigan was here with us, he'd probably sign that for you. All our signatures are free.
D-Dog is having a swarm-gasm attack.
D-Dog, good to see you, man. Thank you for joining us. Next up, we have a lovely jeweled edition,
That's sick.
Retribution. Beautifully jeweled by Shannon. who helps us out here at the warehouse, and she also does all our metal jewels and our jeweled editions. She does some really great work. I've seen her hammer out, 50, 60s of these, and it impresses me that she's able to just keep it going that way.
En fuego.
En fuego, $40 on this piece. Really great deal, and it's gorgeous. Next up, another oldie but a goodie. Found this one in the back. It's the Damnation Game Scarlet Edition. It's number 110 out of 150. We're only asking $20 for this. And this is the only one I've seen so far. I haven't found anything else in my adventures in box digging.
Yeah, I think that sold out real quick, so
Yeah, it's a
surprised
really
you found
beautiful
one.
piece. I can't make out the artist's name on that one. But yeah, it's a really beautiful. I definitely love the bats and the dark clouds in the background. Really beautiful piece. What do you think?
That is beautiful.
It is beautiful. And $20, this is a steal, guys. This is a really good deal. Next up, this was really popular.
Yes.
Captain Death. This is also only $20. These, we had the Emerald editions for Emerald City Comic Con last year. This is number 133 out of 190. And again, once these are gone, that's it. We're only offering them till 245. Once it hits 245, we stop that link, we close the box, and whatever isn't sold, it goes back away into my archive offices.
It's the last day.
This is our last day
Jump on it now.
of the vault.
That's what she said.
Or no, this is the
onesies.
onesie selection, the vault. That's something all together crazy. Another really beautiful, beautiful jeweled piece. This is from Apocalypse Abyss. This is the jeweled edition. Colette Turner is the artist. I really love how they just decorated the heck out of her jewelry.
Sick.
Really beautiful piece. It's only $50. Again, this is it on most of this stuff. So once it's gone, it's gone. Brian has already signed this one here at the bottom, and he does include the COA. COA! Oh, this is a popular one right here. It's also signed by Brian up in the top. This is the Lady Death Blasphemy Anthem Secret Edition. I like the little demons that are hanging around her. The one just salivating all over himself for her. Very beautiful piece. This was brought to you by our last Kickstarter. I think this might be the last one also. We only made 250 of that for the last Kickstarter, and this was a very popular
Yeah,
one.
that's dope.
I really like, she's got that total 80s hair. Whoosh! It's like, wow.
So we got a question from James for
James.
Sapphire.
Sure.
Do you have body paint on, or are you just pale?
Well, as Lady Death, I guess I'm just pale.
She's never out of character, folks. Never. This one's really, really nice. This is Last Rites. This is the Sexy Mama Z. This is by Jesse Witchman. This again, I believe this is our last copy. That's it. And it's only $50. I really love the crazy anaconda snake coming up around her, just circling around her. And of all things, hey, solicitors, leave me alone. Let's turn that off and get these people out of my hair.
And fun, I just noticed too that there's a face in here, so the anaconda has actually eaten somebody in the.
No way, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, that is so
Oh.
sick! Look at that!
It's
Oh,
Batman.
that's a one really cool thing about a lot of our art and doing a segment with Monte Moore. It was just like, looking at this art, you'll find hidden things in the background in the art. And it's an amazing thing that we have our
How
art.
many of the Mama Z's were made? Someone asked.
150, this is 117.
Okay.
And this is from
These are all really good
these are
prices.
really good prices.
Yeah, these are just like the last that you can find of these certain things type of thing.
Yeah. And this one especially is really popular. Look at that one.
Oh, that's beautiful.
This is the Blasphemy Anthem Legend.
Oh,
4-pack.
God.
4-pack.
666.
I want
This
it.
is the last one.
I want it so bad.
You want to take a look? What else is?
Oh, I know. I saw it last night. Me and Lady Death were showing that off. Mark
The
Brooks.
Mark Brooks.
Oh my God! Look at that one.
Look at the Mark Brooks foil. The Noir.
Yes, Lisa. They're under the onesies.
Onesies categories, LadyDeathStore.com underneath the category onesies.
And this is number 44 out of 88.
Are they all matching?
Yeah, should
Are
be
they-
matching serial number.
Except for the secret one.
Oh, that wasn't there last night.
Oh, there you
Whoa,
go.
and
That's
It's a
not Mark
4-pack.
Brooks.
No, this is a secret one we've thrown in. This is the mystery edition.
Oh,
And it's a matching serial number to match with those.
Those Mark
44
Brooks.
At 88. This is DeBalfo.
It almost looks like you.
And these are already
Almost.
signed. We had signed by Brian Pulido. And they each come with the COA. And this is it. Once we're done, the legendary collection for
Well, here,
last
hold
year
on.
is
Just
done.
I'm gonna hijack your show for one quick second.
Check it out.
Now, people are saying this looks pretty similar.
Lady Death in real life, way better. That's all I gotta say.
Our fans have
Right.
This is one of my favorite pieces. It's only $40. This is the All Hallows Evil Halloween edition. And this is another vault find. It's number 6 out of 200.
6!
And I
Sorry.
haven't seen any other ones. I think we offered this previously for a Black Friday sale. No one claimed it, so this is it.
You should
If
do
it
the
doesn't sell
hat
today-
thing.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, if
Maybe
this
for
doesn't
next
sell today,
Halloween.
Yeah, there you go.
it's done. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
Breaking
Let's
news,
wait.
breaking
Oh!
I have found 4.
4.
Oh, those are
Don
sick.
McTeague naughty or
That
cover?
That is
Sold
it.
out.
That is all that will be in existence is 4.
4. These are $80. Brandy just found 4.
I hate to ask, but is there any way you could show us something inside of it?
Sure.
Is it all
Yep.
Don McTeague?
It's
No, it's not all
it's
the-
one of our naughtier prints. It's the A cover. That would be the B cover.
Okay.
This is the B cover. This is the A cover. This was a very big seller for us. Check this out. This is our naughtier book. If you'd like to flip the pages while I hold it open for you, my lady.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And this is basically an alternate cover to our naughtier edition.
Woo!
It's got some
There's a
Donald
cosplay
Lee.
for
It's
ya.
got some
eBay, eBass, and this is the Don McTague cover.
Ortiz, we got Don McTague in there. Sabine Rich. Some more Richard Ortiz. Some more David Harrigan.
Harrigan's
Yeah, that's a
book.
great book. You know what would be really cool? This is what I would do if I owned that. If I owned that, I would go to every con, and each page I would have the artist sign each page, whoever did it.
I
Or
met
to
a
get a
father
remark.
and son. They went.
Oh,
to-
remark too?
Yeah, remark for each of them.
And they were trying to get everyone who's done our art book signatures. And they each have an edition. They have the masterpieces, they have the naughty and the naughtier, and their goal is to get every artist to sign each work
That's
they did in that.
beautiful. I love it.
Oh, another wonderful find here. This
Ooh.
is the naughty
Oh, yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
It's
Fire!
only $50. This is a number 6.
Did that hurt when it happened?
No, I don't feel it.
Oh, she's in Phoenix, man. She keeps it cool around here.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and again, this is our onesie segment for Saturday, and once this segment is done, we're gonna close it up. Go ahead and peek in and make the round.
So once again, go to ladefstore.com, click on the category
Onesies.
You can find the Julian the Hooligan's onesies that he's scrounged up in
I've
the.
been scrounging up a lot of fun stuff. This has been a lot of fun working here and finding this stuff to present you guys, including, I didn't know we did metal editions for Zack the
Zack,
Zombie
yeah.
Exterminator.
Yeah, I got to read that book. I didn't know about it till we got here, which is
Oh, you have to fun.
bad
Yeah.
on me.
And when they were selling it, it's like Wayne's World meets Dawn, and I was like, okay, I gotta read this.
That sounds good. Yeah.
And it's only $60. It is an homage to the Kiss Destroyer cover, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah. And this is a metal cover. This is it. Once they're gone, guys. Scoop up what you can. This one's been popular all weekend. Boom.
Yes.
Diodato Jr. This is the Pearl edition by Mike Diodato Jr. It's $50.
Yeah,
It's
this is
number
the-
51.
Oh, I love that one.
Look at the texture on the paper. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really
Want to
fine.
touch the hiney? Oh God, that
Yeah.
yeah, I know
Actual
what you mean.
paper itself.
It's like that pearl.
Yeah.
Remember that pearl for cars?
Mm-hmm.
Like-
Look at that.
You can really see that, but oh man, that's just like
It's
Ah,
gorgeous.
it's like
You see,
sandpaper
yeah, you can just see
from
the,
hell.
Just,
It's like the Dead
it's like
Sea
linen.
Scrolls.
Yeah, it's like the Dead Sea Scrolls, but it's Lady Death.
Timothy
The
Dong got
Heartbreaker.
that
Lady
yesterday
Death
in
is
metal.
Yep,
Red.
we had the metal one. This is the Pearl edition. This
Yeah.
is it. This is
love that stock.
one thing
Yeah, I
fun
love the
about the
color.
onesie section. Another
Oh.
great one. We have
Ooh,
Hot
Hot
Shot
Shot.
Secret. Number 4 is a Monte Moore.
You
Only
guys-
$40.
That's beautiful. You guys, you better
Look at
get in
look at
that store.
tweet on her face. She's just
You
like,
better get in that store. I
It's like,
see
I dare
something.
you to touch me.
What are you looking at?
It's really
Walk away.
beautiful. Yeah, walk away, boy. Walk away.
This is crazy.
Oh
my
here
God.
we go. Another 2-pack.
Oh,
And this is a BP edition.
oh, mama.
125. This is Devotion, Naughty Succubus, and
Richard
Seraphim
Ortiz.
set.
Oh yeah, we saw those last night. I think.
Beautiful.
Though,
This
that's
is
a great
Ryan's
deal.
personal edition.
yeah,
I don't know,
Cover
man.
at the face. Look at that.
Hey,
Angel
mama.
and Devil. 125. It's a beautiful set.
Brian
Richard
Pulido's
Ortiz.
personal collection.
This is his editions.
That's a nice one, guys.
CLAs.
That's a good price for both.
Yeah, 2-pack right there.
All right, all you Mendoza fans.
There you go.
Oh
There
yes.
you go.
Yes.
This was offered. This is the Mendoza Metal Instant Edition from Fiendfest. This is also a BP edition. $150.
Yeah, we saw that last. I used to own one of those. Not the
She's
not
great.
the metal though.
Yeah, the metals.
Yeah.
I
The metal
love the
comic
metals.
books are the only comic books you can kill someone with.
And
yeah,
well,
I
you
can
can-
cut by one of those. It's like, wow, those things cut. It
you
shows
could
up-
paper cut someone to death. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it's
With
like,
the ra-
That way you could take someone's head off with the metal
dude,
cover.
there you go. Zombie apocalypse, you can make that into a battle axe. Wow, it's like Mendoza just slayed.
Screw toilet paper. Let's get metal covers.
Metal covers. Oh, that hurt wiping with that. Right here we have the Damnation Game Naughty Edition by Don McTague. It's only $40, and you can tell this is an older edition with the old Coffin Comics logo right there.
Yep.
This was a Kickstarter offering, if I recall correctly.
Actually, I think this is the comic market edition.
Is it? Oh my God!
So,
There it is. There, it's got the barcode and everything. I
So-
don't think we have any more of these in the store.
No,
haven't seen
I
them.
bought one last night.
it might be.
It wasn't that. It was something with that same image.
Yeah, so this was the comic market edition, so probably a little different coloring on
And
that one.
background.
And I'm pretty sure these are pretty much sold out.
I was shocked when I find most of this
Well,
stuff.
obviously they are because it's in the onesies.
It's in the onesies or warehouse, meaning there's probably 3 to 4 at the most, and
Yep.
once they're done, that's it. They're gone. Next up, we have another one that's a comic book market that's really
Oh
nice.
God,
The
yeah.
Chaos Rules #1 Mega Incentive Edition. This is another Don
Yeah.
McTague cover.
I love this one. This is like
That's-
another one. She has the looks that she gives Lady Death are just
I love that smirk,
yes.
that nice little smirk.
That's like a trade too, binding.
Yep, this is square bound, 48-page book.
Nice.
It's only
Those-
$40.
So this was the Mega Incentive Edition. There's only available for in the comic shop market. When retailers bought this, it was an incentive for them to buy more books. So it's like limited to 1 in 10 runs. So I'm not sure. It's probably under 100 books or so.
Yeah, we don't have. I don't remember seeing a lot of those because I had to piece together the back rooms, and when I was digging around, I was like, wow, there's not much of this stuff, and I've inventoried a lot of it. So, like I say, once they're gone, that's it. They're done.
Terry's asking about a price on a specific book. Basically, go to the ladyfstore.com, go to the click on the onesies category, and you'll get all the prices. That's where they're all at. So I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm not sure exactly which one is the one to the left. Is it my left or your left or whatever? But we'll go over them all again.
See, stop. Next up, another beautiful
Oh,
number 13
God.
set.
Yep.
This is the Dragon Wars Legends set, $666. And this one is also a 3-pack. I'll show you what else you get. It's a main piece. This is a hand-colored
hand-colored
edition by Jason Jensen.
Original Chaos Comics color.
These handcrafts are great. It's like Jason does each cover a different color variation. So
That-
it's very unique.
So the colors are actually on the book.
Yep.
Sick.
And then you get the nice, beautiful black and white pencil sketch.
I love that cover.
It's gorgeous.
She was rocking that sickle yesterday in here. Remember?
Yeah, I remember. First time I saw her with that thing, I was like, oh God, she was behind my booth at Fiendfest, and it almost took out my eye. It's like, that thing is deadly. This is our onesie segment. This is number 13. We only had 33 produced of this. So once it's gone, it's gone.
Once again, no call outs. You just go right to ladyfstore.com, go to the onesies category, and while it's open for this 45-minute session, you can grab it. Otherwise, it's going to be
Done.
Ace just bought the Heartbreaker Pearl cover.
Nice.
all the pearl. Yes.
Beautiful. You have a good eye, man. Oh wow, an AP number 4 Scarlet Edition Don McTee. This is one of our tip-ins, I believe we did.
Yes. And this is Lady Satanas. So Lady Satanas made her first appearance in which one was it? Blasphemy Anthem. I think there's talks of having her own comic coming up too. So if if you jump on
It's
these
a
first
metal,
appearance
Scarlet Metal.
comics,
God, that's so
should
clean.
be she should have her own comic. Just from the response everyone got when we introduced her, it's pretty
She's
pretty confident.
popular,
I'm pretty confident she's going to have her own title within the next year or two.
Yeah, this metal cover, the Scarlets and the black metal ones are just breathtaking to see.
You can tell that's extremely rare because of the price just for the one
it's
book.
AP4.
And Brian probably keeping the other. Oh, there's only 5, so he's keeping the first 3.
Yeah, he keeps the first 3. Oh, here we go, another AP, number 4,
Ah.
Mark Brooks Metal Legend Edition.
God. So that's the metal. The other one we have the set of 3 with the bonus, but this is the metal.
This is the metal one, and this is the artist proof edition.
Wow.
And it does come with its own special COA, and if you get it signed by Brian, there's also a COA for his signature as well.
I gotta say, that's one of my favorite from this entire weekend is
This
the
is
Mark
gorgeous.
Brooks. Let me take a quick look. I just want to see something. I mean, it is so clean. Of course, it's metal, but these books, I'm telling you guys, are in excellent condition. Unless they specify, and this was the first
This
time
is the only one I've had one that was
all
it's like,
weekend.
yeah.
They
it.
put VF on it, but everything else is fire.
And we try to be legit with our stuff, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. We've had a lot of special guests, a lot of panels, so please join us for everything. We still got quite a bit of time, so let's whip out another metal edition. La Muerta Ascension Jewel
Edition.
That's beautiful.
And I love the jewels they put on her belt and in her hair with the roses.
Capture that. You gotta get the right light.
Find
yeah.
the light. Yeah, right.
It's hard to get. You gotta see it in person.
Yeah, in person, those Schwarzkopf crystals.
I like
Really
the smoke.
beautiful piece. And this is another thing that first time I started working with Brian and Fran at back when it was called Phoenix Comic Con, they showed me metal jeweled editions, and I would blow away. I was like, "Geez, you're doing metal covers, jeweled covers. They're real crystals, and they do metal jewels, and they're a lot of fun to check out."
I guess
Yeah.
Ace bought this one yesterday when they had another one yesterday or something.
Like you have APs, BPs, some of them are even low ones that people didn't pick up their stuff. They didn't finish the bag, so it became ours, and we're offering it to you. Last chances on these. Next up, here's a good example of Jesse Richmond of a metal jewel.
Yeah,
This
that-
is the La Muerta Retribution Crystal Metallico edition. It's $100. This is a metal cover with Schwarzkopf crystals inside.
I love that gold.
I wonder if it looks, but does it look? It seems to shine a little.
There,
bit.
there, there,
Take it
there.
out,
Oh, yeah.
Take it out of the plastic. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
These are hand plays by Shannon. Shannon does a great job on these. And again, $100. It's number 72 out of 77 were made of these. So this is definitely the end of the line on these.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. It's sick.
It's sick! $100. Again, if you would like anything signed by Brian, he is more than happy to sign his books for you.
Yeah, and also if you need help finding something online or searching for it, look, send us an email at inquiries@coffincomics.com. Especially if it's if it's not showing on the website, if you want to take a screenshot of the item and send it to them, they might be able to help you locate that or send you a link to purchase one of these onesies. So
You cannot slab jeweled covers.
No, unfortunately, you
Jewels,
cannot. Metal, yes.
Metal, yes.
Gold
Jewel,
and
no.
Metal jewel, no.
oh yeah,
You cannot.
let's also mention this too.
Yeah, check it out. We also offer CGC grading services today, every day here. We offer grading and slabbing services. Signature series, the yellow label, $45 per book, plus return label, shipping and handling. CGC Universal Blue, if you do not want it signed, we do offer it no signatures as well. It's $30 per book, plus return shipping and handling. You can also have $10 per book for fast tracking service, expedited CGC processing. Processing and restoration services are also available. How it works, just go ahead and order your books. If you're like, oh shoot, I want to make sure it's CGC, Right down below where you're checking out, you can actually put memos to the CGC of this book. If you want a CGC, put it with each book you want. Let us know if there's only maybe, say you're buying 5 or 6 books. It's like, hey, I just want this one and this one CGC. We'll definitely make sure it gets done to you. This is something we've started offering, almost a year now. And it's done really well.
Here you go,
Also,
man.
If you forget to,
Naughty
if you have to
succubus.
place an order, or if you decide to do it later, send us an email to inquiries@coffincomics.com with your order number and let us know you want the CGC.
Yeah, some gentleman earlier today sent us a message on Facebook, definitely, so I sent them the links open to inquiries@coffincomics.com. So he wanted his stuff, CGC, or he actually was looking.
He said he
for
can't find it.
So we made sure to say, hey, send that here, get your order
We
number.
message him?
Included that.
Or I'm gonna go ask?
Inquiries@coffincomics.
Just go in the search bar, man. Go in the search bar. Oh.
Shoot us that email.
Try the power hour. Some of these aren't in the onesies. That's what I'm finding out.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
But
Yeah,
he's
we'll
working
work
on it. He's working on
Have
it.
they
All right.
refreshed their pages or anything?
Well, it might, if it's open, it's,
The link's live,
yeah,
right?
links live, they might, there might have been our, might be our.
You can try searching the different names as well in the search bar, but Joel's checking on it for us.
Let me know if someone wants me to pick up the book that they're wondering about.
He's wondering about this. Well, he knows what it looks like. He's just trying to find it.
Okay. Next up, we also have from Ascension the Rapture Edition. It's only $50. Only 150 made, and this thing's really psychedelic.
Yeah,
that thing is
that's the right
groovy.
term for it, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
man.
really
Oh.
groovy. You got the really cool skull in the background with the Day of the Dead motifs. Beautiful butterflies. I mean, this is a really gorgeous piece.
My ex used to look like that. Sorry, without the face paint. But
And $50. And this is our onesies.
oh, here we got an answer.
Oh, what? They're up, okay. Okay, they're taking care of it.
Man, they're
Make
adding
right
it in.
now.
So it'll be a couple minutes.
Couple minutes, man. Couple minutes, man. They're adding it in.
Muerte Ascension. This is a hollow foil edition. We only made 150
Here,
of these. This
yeah.
is $45.
That's
I
fire.
love these hollow foil.
Oh, I forgot to ask.
Great.
I think she held me one of these. I couldn't handle it last night, so I think she pulled one back for me. I
Gorgeous.
love that one. I love
I
that
love
look
the
card.
lowrider of the
Yeah.
block. This actually looks like 3 cars I walked by today coming into work. They were having a lowrider festival in the park right where I got off of the train, so I got to see some really tricked out rides then. And
Orderly Holmes.
oh, totally, all right. Reminded me of cruising in Central when I was a kid with my cousins and my uncles when they had a car like that back when you could actually cruise Central.
Did you know that downtown Mesa used to be like
Oh,
Mill?
it's sold, okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's already
that
sold.
crazy?
Oh, made it
Long
back in.
3 o'clock.
Made it
Long time ago,
Long time
though.
ago.
It made itself, but it made it way
So
back
is
in.
it
Okay.
up or?
Well, I looked it up and it looked like it was sold.
It's already
Okay.
sold.
It's already
Okay.
sold. Okay.
That's not good.
All right, La Muerta Ascension Crystal Metallico.
Man,
This is the cool psychedelic one, but this time with jewels.
man, they're saying it's sold, man. Sorry
It's
about
already
that.
gone.
So he might have found its way back into the.
He's okay. He's
Wrong
okay.
box.
He's
Cool.
already spent $10,000, so he's good.
Jiminy crickets. Thank you.
Look at this.
Thank
This
you.
He's the first raffle winner, guys. You guys
Whoa,
know if you
awesome.
buy something, guys, everybody.
Introduce you to a raffle.
And for the grand prize, right, Brian Julian, right here.
Lady
And
Death La Muerta statue.
That's
and it-
right for tonight until it ends at 7 o'clock. Every
7 o'clock.
order gets entered into the raffle.
And if we pull you, we put you back in for the grand prize. So
Right.
yeah, that's really cool. We make sure.
This one
everyone's
actually looks
aware.
like a religious experience. Right here.
It does. It does. I took LSD and saw God.
They went to church.
went to church. I went to Cataclysm.
damn, dude, he just said
This
more
is
like.
a beautiful piece.
He said
Really
more like
$100.
20,000. Dude, man, if you did,
If you did,
I love you.
Oh my gosh!
we love
thank
you.
Because
She,
you are
Jiminy cricket.
Yeah, thank you for supporting Coffin Comics. We appreciate that. As an indie publisher, like we don't have any corporate, money coming in. We don't have any shareholders. We don't have anything else but you guys. It's voting with your dollars for us. So thank you so much. Brian Pulido puts the so much attention to the detail of story, art, bringing fun and excitements into comics. and bring it to you guys. So hopefully you feel that you got enough value, and obviously you're voting for us with your hard-earned money. So thank you so much.
If he didn't do it,
Really appreciate it.
it wouldn't be like this. They wouldn't have the best. If this, oh, he said he's just kidding.
He's just kidding.
This poor.
Thanks a lot.
No matter what amount you spend, thank you very much.
Thank you.
No,
very
he
much.
did. He did spend a lot.
$20.
He did spend a lot.
We're always grateful. Every little bit of dollars we get in goes back into the company so we can produce beautiful pieces of work like this for you and continue publishing our stories.
They're asking if we could do this every year. I think after this, it's going to be every couple months.
Right.
I think it might be every 3 months, 6
Considering how
months.
successful and how
The
good
response we're
we
getting,
got
yeah,
is
the
really
response
been,
we're getting.
and it only took us like
It's a
less
shocker.
than a week to put this together.
Yeah.
It was insane.
So
It
this
was all in house.
Yeah. Next up,
Whoa,
hey,
whoa,
there we go.
Oh.
This is the Hell Witch for Skate Tantalizer edition.
There you go. There you go.
Number 86 out of 99.
getting the
What number? Oh, 96. Sorry.
86.
Oh, 86.
Not 69.
Oh.
We already did some of those earlier.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
No, we didn't.
this is only $40. This is the Hell Witch Risque Tantalizer edition by Don McTeague. This is a gorgeous piece, guys. Get them
Uh-oh.
while you got them.
Look
They're
at
almost
that.
gone.
A whole nother pot.
The cauldron is growing.
Raffles, when you place your order, your order gets dropped into the cauldron, and you get a chance to win some goodies.
Another one, I gotta put the fingerture bars. This is a Hell Witch Hellborn Risque edition. This was a Kickstarter offer. This is our Risque edition. So 350 is all we made. I don't know. I can't recognize the signature of the artist down below. I also don't have my glasses, so I'm not seeing very well tonight.
Yeah,
It's only $40.
Oh, that's a weird one too.
$40 for this one. This is some of our warehouse finds, onesies. So some of these we only had a few in stock, or this is our last one. This way right there. Little boobies. Oh, and even more. All right, here we go. This is the Unholy Ruin Naughty Gotha and Naughty Hell
Ooh,
Witch.
I like
This
that.
is a 2-pack. It's $85. I'll show you that.
Wait.
Wait. I need to be a contortionist. All right. There we go.
Yep.
Beautiful piece.
Richard Ortiz,
Richard Ortiz.
bringing it with the female body, rocking it out.
This is
Very,
the Hell Witch Hellboard Kickstarter offer. Is one of the 2-packs we offer.
You know what you got there? Her girlfriend right
And skulls and nudity and love.
It's all about
Even in hell.
Jimmy always smiles. He's always smiling since the day we
He
met.
always smiles.
Scary, but I'm used to it now.
That sounded really.
We have to do
terrifying.
this. We have to do this, or it'd just be two guys standing here for 3 days.
Heavy
Yeah.
breathing.
God.
Doing shout out. No, we don't do shout out.
Click on the links.
We try to make this fun and entertaining for you. Again, this is the Hell Witch Hellborn Risque Gotha edition. My finger is Diego did this one. Diego Bernard. Look at that. That's beautiful.
Yep.
I love the
Yep,
skull.
yep.
It's hanging from the beautiful candles, the candelabras he does, the bedposts.
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous piece.
Everything except her.
Well, yeah, but then I'd have to look over here. It's like, no.
And I love the giant boobs. Oh wait.
And this is a really.
Yeah, look at the little
Beautiful
head,
book.
the headpiece, the wall mounts.
Mm-hmm. And this is only $40.
Look at the size of those horns.
I know.
Yeah.
Look at that. They just plunge.
I imagined her farting. I'm sorry.
Don't.
Hey, I got that kind of. Oh my God, this next one's fire. What is that?
Okay. This
Oh.
is the Metal Jeweled edition from Hell Witch Hellborn. This was also a Kickstarter edition. This is a metal jewel.
Oh yes,
Pull
please.
it out for you so you can
Undress
see it.
her. Yes. Oh man, that
Only
just
did-
changes everything.
Yeah, look at that. Sparkles.
I'm willing to
shines.
get some light on that. Let's see. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. 121 out of 125. Once these are gone, that is it. They are gone.
That's sweet.
This is beautiful. It's a really beautiful piece. Metal jewels are
Oh,
fun to look at. They're only $100.
Fun.
DLE says, Siak!
Yeah. Woo, man. Those jalapenos he made.
I stayed away.
Hot ones, man. Holy cow.
I didn't want to endanger everyone.
All right, here we go. Another Hell Witch. Hellborn. This is the heavy metal edition.
Yeah, I love that one too.
Look at
I
that.
might have put one of those on hold last night too. I just couldn't handle it.
There's 194 out of 200. We are almost out of these as well. Like I say, a lot of this stuff, I just pulled them out. I was like, okay, we got a few of these left.
Wow. That's
One
gorgeous.
of our metal covers. Gorgeous piece there. And then also, one last thing I have, also from our Hell Witch Kickstarter.
Oh, a little
This is
surprise.
The last one I have. Where did she go? Ah, here it is. We also occasionally make metal
Oh!
prints.
Metal prints.
This is $65. This is our last one. It's number 30 out of 66. We have no more of these. This is it.
Yeah, we
It's
sold
all
out.
I have.
Yeah, you found all those other ones before, and they all sold out.
Yeah,
I'm
they all
surprised
sold
you
out.
found one more.
I was again in one of the print boxes in the shop. It just got lost in the mix, and we found it.
In New York, in the Covenant.
This is really cool stuff, and like I say, guys, this is our onesies and also warehouse find editions.
So the email you use is inquiries at coffincomics.com.
Sean
Just
will be
got-
answering any of your
It's like when
questions.
Sean is waiting for you. Operators are standing by.
Just got my Death Widow.
Nice.
Ordered, signed, sickness, he said.
And then you can also get this signed by Brian. Art is by Don McTagg. It's really beautiful.
Oh, wow,
piece.
that's a
And
little
it's
different
metal.
for her. Fire.
This is a metal print. Like I say, we try to think outside of the box when we create our pieces. Brian's always coming up with some weird ideas. He was already hinting that he's got something special for our newest Kickstarter for Lady Death. So
Of course you can get it framed.
you
Be
could-
even better, it won't ever crease or bend. It's metal.
Yeah, it is metal. This thing is incredible. Again, this is another thing I was like, we made metal.
Is it 11/17? It's 11 by 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just get 11 by 17 frame and you're done.
Yeah, and this is a great. This is something I would even suggest putting it under glass.
Well, yeah, and then you could get like a red. You could even get a red and black, or like a red. What do they call
Velvet
those?
background.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would look.
What is it? The called?
The Schwarzschild crystals?
No.
No?
When you get
Shadowbox,
no, you get it in the frame, but you have the little white thing around it.
Lightbox.
I know what you're talking about.
It's like the cut, and like sets
okay.
inside,
Oh,
but you could
yeah.
get that velvet red, the cut,
That would
and
look
then like
really
a black,
nice, yeah, in the background.
and
Yeah.
then you could
Jules, you're gonna be on your own.
Thank you, Jimmy.
play Black Sabbath, and oh, sorry,
Black Sabbath.
play Black.
Again, this is our onesies Saturday segment. This is some of our last editions of these things, and also these are warehouse founds I have.
Matt.
Thank you.
Matt. We're
Who
Matt.
answered that? Matt. Thank you.
You got to
very
get that
much.
velvet red matte
It has been
black.
a long couple of days.
I struggle with it every time. I could totally imagine that. I like
That's
to.
gorgeous. It's a really nice piece. I like I say, I was just digging around a couple months ago, and I was like, hey, does anyone know that we have a metal print?
I would love to dig
shop?
around in the back rooms and the boxes. Oh my gosh.
Those in my office.
I know what's in there.
FP, all my bosses.
I noticed how you have your own office back there.
I do.
Everyone else shares. But
Well,
Julian's
I
got.
originally was going to be sharing it there, but since I was going to be taking care of the archives and all the onesies and the old comic stock we have, I needed more room. So they gave me what used to be one of our backstock rooms. So yeah,
It was an office and then it became storage.
and now
And
it's
we're like-
an office.
Julian is so great at finding all the wonderful little books because we do so many books with so many great covers that sometimes we hold them back for damage or anything like that, and then we end up just kind of putting them in a box and setting them aside, and then we gotta make more books, and a lot of times we're like, didn't we have these extra books? Along comes Julian, who has the patience to curate
Curate.
It's like,
all of it. He's like, I found it. And we're all like, it's like magic.
you have a lot of experience though in the game.
I've done comic
He's
book
magic.
retail for 25 years, so
Yeah.
a lot of the companies I worked for, we always had large back issue stock and lots of bins. So I always tried to go through there as much. I usually stocked them, and I love when people are like, "Oh, do you have this?" I'm usually like, "Da da 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 da."
I know where that is.
Rain
Yeah.
Man.
So weird. It's
It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing it.
It's a talent.
I'm glad they let me curate all the old
Yeah,
books
you
and
got.
stuff.
I look honestly. I remember when someone told me that you, well, that you got hired by Coffin. You had left another local place.
I decided to get out of retail. I've been doing retail for 25 years. Since I was 21, 22, I got hired at Atomic Comics to sell the Godzilla merchandise.
Sure.
They knew me as a Godzilla fan. I worked my way up. I managed the smallest store in Chandler and worked my way up to the main store. I moved out to Portland to work with Things for Another World for a year, and also I worked for Excalibur Comics out there in Portland. Moved back here, worked for some wonderful people at Gotham, and finally Samurai Comics, the Banks, Mike and Mariah, Jeff Pena, everyone there. I miss you guys. I loved all our customers. I really like interacting with the fans. I just love trying to find people the stuff they love to complete their collections. That,
Yeah,
to me, is
what
the
a gig
best.
though. I
It's a lot of
remember
fun.
when they said, yeah, he went from Samurai to Coffin. I'm like, oh, Coffin, are they hiring? That's the first thing I thought. Coffin Comics? How sick is that?
I was just happy because I was like, I just want to do a warehouse job and pick comics and pack books. That's
Dream.
all I really want to
Dream.
do. It was just like, I don't have to, run around, do customer service, but
I get
the
it.
position opened up and they got me to help do the cons with them, which I love working with Fran and Brian. And
Oh, they're
and
so
Raffles.
great.
They're wonderful people.
Unbelievable.
We're literally like a family here.
Oh, there's no doubt. The feeling is there.
Tight knit, just like the comic community. We're all
Sure.
really tight knit community. So everybody there at the CBSN, thank you for giving us this opportunity to do these last minute shows. We decided to turn things around with the cancellation at Emerald. We got a bunch of other folks here helping us stream some good books. So CBSN, Jesse James, Kyle, Northrop, thank you guys so much. Jim King, you're amazing. Everybody at CBSN has really been helpful for us. So thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you. This is our Onsies segment. This is warehouse finds that I have found. A lot of these are our last editions, or we maybe have 3 or 4. This is some of the stock we were going to take with us to Seattle. So once these are done, this is it. We are out of some of these editions. So I'm very happy to present these to you. Thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you so
We have
much.
4 minutes left, so just to show you some beautiful things. We go through shout outs on the link.
You guys, we have a raffle.
Shop away.
Raffle 4 minutes, right?
Purchases
Yep.
will enter you.
Raffle 4 minutes, guys. And then I think we're doing something with Mike DeBalfo. I think. Mike DeBalfo's next. Yeah, that's right. DeBalfo. So, we're going to do a raffle in 3 minutes. And then here. And then we're gonna be live with Mike DeBalfo, guys. You don't want to miss that, guys. Another huge Lady Death creator.
These are my onesies and warehouse finds.
Simone.
These are the low stock editions. Some of them are last editions. Some of them are artist proofs. Some of them are VP editions. Slowly but surely, this stuff is selling out. We have sold out a lot of our exclusives also this weekend. I think we've sold out 7 out of the 11 we're offering. We also have limited prints we're offering that we're going to be in New City. Some of them we only producing 50 of them, and then they are $20 for the limited 50 editions we're doing, and $16 for the other prints that are all 11 by 17. If you want anything signed, we definitely allow that. All the signatures are free, so don't hesitate to ask if you'd like some of your books signed. Slowly dipping away.
All right, we're gonna walk around for a minute while we have 2 minutes and 50 seconds for the.
Again, Jesse James and the whole crew. They've been really good to us. They've let us have some time, some little hours here and there. So thank you, Jesse.
You guys, there's 1.5 minutes till the raffle. So good luck. And then we're gonna take a 10-minute break. I will stay live, and it will be Mike DeBalfo. You guys don't want to miss that. You know how we just did Money Moore and Marat Mychaels? Mike DeBalfo's next. So please, I would love if you guys shared this. Maybe share it at the top of the hour.
Oh, the metal print is 65. This is my last one. We found it in our shop in the print
Yeah, Tim, I would say that Emerald Gaze is fire sick. Look, honestly, if you guys are really interested, I mean, you might as well use the option because it's straight to CGC, right to you. I mean, you can't. Oh, hey guys, look at this is a secret behind this. Is at first I thought he was the customer service, but he's actually the cook.
Now I'm the cook, yeah. Cook, customer service, sales, whatever you need, whatever you want, we got you covered.
We used to call him
Yeah.
Proby? Were you Proby?
I was a Proby for a while until I got hired on, but now, yeah, Psycho Sean is what
Psycho
Ryan
Sean.
has given me, and that's what it is. Yes,
And
yes.
Chris is the or Nick. Sorry. Nick is all the web stuff. When the links go live, everything. Wait.
The web stuff is more just his nighttime job. He's the editor of Coffin Comics.
Oh God! Well, so he's
making sure that the books come out correct, the story continuity is all correct. What else you do as editor?
push a lot of paper.
oh God.
So
Well, we-
everything that's printed, everything that has to go to the various printers that we use, how many copies of each book get made, all of that heavy weight is all taken on by one person, by Nick.
Raffle?
Well, and Brian,
And
we work together.
I think it's raffle time, guys. Sorry. So we'll be back.
Raffle time.
Raffle.
All right.
The onesies. I don't know if the onesies are closed or still open, or I don't know.
We're gonna do the raffle over here.
Okay, we're moving the raffle, guys.
Excuse our folks, but if you'd like a break, we're going to let our folks sneak out. We're going to have a break. Only one job, people, and then. But Lady, if you want to be here for this too, so explain what we're doing. Every couple hours we're doing a live raffle because what we're doing is at Coffin Comics Con online. Everyone who places an order at Lady Death's store, we are actually putting their name and their order in this vault, and then we're actually going to we're going to give them some cool stuff. Do you guys have samples of what those items are?
Maybe.
Only one job, but the 11th time we've done it this
So,
weekend.
so Shane was saying this is very insightful. And thank you. Everyone's thanking you. Comics and More is thanking you for this great panel that you're doing. Shane saying this is very cool. Thank you, Phil. Of course, he's loving it. So,
Thank you.
Sable, I really found this very insightful. So, thank you so much for doing it.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, thanks. For us all, it was just a crazy experiment. We're having more fun than should be allowed doing it. I know that the Coffin crew behind the scenes, man, as soon as we knew that Emerald City was postponed, within 3 hours we knew we were going to do this. We started plotting, planning, throwing things together. Got to give a big up and acknowledgement to our partners, Economics and Comics, and really
Thank
to
you.
the Coffin crew, who's just behind the scenes, been doing an inordinate amount of work, really helping us out. Thank you so much, Brandy Reese.
Thank you, Brian.
So step on in here a little bit, Brandy, and I would like to ask you to please put the newest orders in here.
So here's these, and then here's the few stragglers.
Couple stragglers, and
There we go.
Lady Death, would you mind just mixing them up a little bit? And this is going to be for all the store orders that have come in since the beginning of Con, which was Thursday at 10 a.m. So it's been a bazillion. Okay, maybe a little less than a bazillion, but
Y'all
close.
are crazy.
So I'm going to let Lady Death pick, and then I'm going to have Brandy. Oh, let's see what are you guys going to get? You're probably saying to yourself, what are you going to get in the raffle?
I'm
So-
ready now.
Got it. So first you're going to receive an art germ print of Lady Death. You're going to get a Lady Death Rules Volume 2 trade, 192 pages covering chapters 4 through 7 of Lady Death, Ryan Brown cover. Ooh, uh-oh. So this is Lady Death Scorched Earth Boudoir with the very popular Anthony Spey cover.
Yeah,
This
my
image,
favorites.
yes, this is a knockout for people, and I'm happy to announce that Anthony Spey has begun work on 4 new covers for Coffin Comics. Yay.
Excellent.
And you're going to get a goodie bag. So the goodie bag would have a beer koozie, balloon, bookmark, pencil, guitar pick, stickers, and a mini print. Because that's how we roll at Coffin Comics.
So, we're going to do this first for our orders, and then we're going to do it for our club. Our club is private and currently closed, but that's what we're going to do next. So, Lady Death, pick one out. Lady Death's putting her hand deep into the cauldron, the vault, and the name that's picked is...
Griffin Lochner.
Griffin Lochner! Griffin Lochner, you now join the sworn. Now we're going to move on. We're breaking out the Coffin Cauldron, Lady Death, where we have the names of all of our club members. Our club members. We're going to mix this up, Lady Death. And now we're going to show you what you're going to win in this raffle. And remember, if you're in the raffle, you are eligible to be part of the grand prize raffle happening tonight at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And you could win a Lady Death La Muerta statue. The Azure variant, 150 made. What you're going to win in this particular raffle is a Hell Witch print by Jamie Tyndall. It is sick. You get a Hell Witch, Hellborn.
His sick is so funny to me.
I know, every time I say it, Billy laughs. It's like it's the easiest laugh I get. Hell Witch Hellborn Premium Foil by Ed Bennis. And the wonderful La Muerta #1 Vengeance Sun K cover. I see Joel over there with that look. It's really cool with the clown face, right? And then again, another super group of goodies, including some trading cards. I could see stickers and a balloon. So without further ado, Lady Death for the club. And I'll never be able to see that personally, so it's going to be
Tracy Jones.
Tracy Jones. Tracy Jones from the club. All right. Well, you guys have been great, and what's our next program?
Next
Jimmy
panel is
Coffin?
at 4 o'clock, The Art of the Cover with Monte Moore and Mike DeBalfo, moderated
What?
by Mike McLean.
Whoa! Okay, so hang around, folks. We're going to be back with The Art of the Cover, moderated by Mike McLean with Monte Moore and Marat Mychaels. Thank you so much, everybody.
We got DeBalfo next, right? In that room?
DeBalfo's going to be in this room.
Nobody knows.
Oh.
And then Julian's going to be out there doing the...
Let me get my glasses because I can't see.
Wandering around here like you can't see, son.
Hey, stick with us, guys. Stick with us.
So they have a panel out here with the art of the cover.
No, it says here DeBalfo something.
Yeah, DeBalfo's going to do the live DeBalfo sale here.
With Brian?
Yeah, with Brian.
Just Brian, right?
Yeah.
So then I'm coming in there.
Yeah, you want to be in this one.
Okay, so we're doing the DeBalfo here.
Yeah.
I thought we were doing it.
Okay, cool.
We're going to do it here because Julian's doing the coffin verse stuff, which is all set up.
Okay, guys. Mike DeBalfo next, selling his books. What time is it, Joel? What do we got?
2:52. Okay, I understand what's going on. We are doing it here. The reset for the other thing would be tougher. Give us a couple minutes, but I could use some help. So let's get the DeBalfo goods up.
Are you going to be going live with this? for
I'm going to
DeBalfo?
use the handheld.
So we can be closer?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Because those lights are too much.
But from our staff, we just need with the DeBalfos.
Okay, guys, so
Actually, Joel, if you mind just put some of those stands up.
those are already up, Joel. I'm just joking. I'm just messing with you. See? All right. All right, guys. We'll be right back. You guys don't want to miss this. You do not want to miss this.
Oh, it's underneath Put it under here to be staged, ready to go.
Got a couple minutes, right?
Yep. Yep. All right, cool, thanks. All right, this is what we got. All right, cool.
Do you want the little covers? Or
Yes, yeah, if you know where those question marks are, that'd be awesome. great session. This is gonna be a hot session, dude.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited. What's up tonight, Pete?
Are there any prints?
There are, thank you.
You're gonna have to do this one here. Here's your phone. So just take the link in the description. That's all you need to do. We got this.
We can do it.
So
And that one is awesome.
this is oh shit. Let's see. I think I have a cut and paste.
Are there any more comics?
Oh, no?
Thank you for your help with this.
Thank you. That's good. Very cool, thanks. And so you got a nice Lisa, your premieres? Yeah.
Type in for the description.
Just
No call outs, go to.
yeah, just say that. Go to lateststore.com. And then yeah, that one you can just switch the camera back and forth.
I was just like, my heart rate's racing. Time to stop drinking the coffee. Store.com.
And then you're gonna be focusing on the coffee
Oh,
premieres,
books.
trades, covers, all that.
Store.com is one word, not three. There we go.
Okay, and this is up. Oh, this is for 3:45. 3:45, and then at 4. I'm just singing a song, man. Yeah. 3 minutes, people. 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Mikey Balfo's in the building. Look out.
Let him in here.
Oh, you know what? I forgot.
All right. We're good. You guys, if you or anyone was saving money, this is the time, okay? It's Mike DeBalfo time. There's gonna link is gonna go live. A link is gonna go live just like last time. This is the time. Let me fix the mic for you guys. Actually, guys, how does it sound? Does it sound okay? Can I stay plugged in or do I need the mic? Please let me know. How does it sound? Faint? All right, fine. I sound distant. That's funny.
Op-ed on the other side. Hey, let me ask you a question. Because, like, if quote-unquote remark of yours, like, in this day and age, no joke, you could probably sell a lot more than you ever want to do. So
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter what price it is, so.
Right.
So how are we
I have
orientated?
it priced at 80, because I think that's what we discussed.
Yeah, but what happens if we get 100?
I can't.
What's your limit?
I'm gonna say 10 because I have somebody from that last sign right there, and I have real work to do, and I don't want to drag it out for a year. You know?
Take,
Maybe 10.
do me a favor, make it quick. Ixnay remarks for DeBalfo.
Yeah.
There's no middle ground for us.
Yeah,
It's
that makes
either
sense.
whatever we get.
Oh, but
Sorry, we sell about 100 a session these days.
No, it's totally fine.
I have to update like every product.
Just start. Sorry.
All right, then we'll just
Just what's
cancel.
real.
We'll just cancel. Any remarks on it?
Yeah, we're gonna
Okay.
start with, I'd like to start still on time, so.
Yep. All right.
Mike, if you're cool. we'll
Delete
skip
it,
in.
We're just gonna have a delay when the product's delayed, that's all.
Okay, just start working on it.
Make it so.
No,
3 o'clock. Here we
you
go. We're going live. We're going live.
You know what you can
Let's
do?
go.
Yeah. All right, are we going live? We're going live. We're going live. That's what we're doing. Hey everybody, it's your boy
Link's
Brian
not
Pulido.
up yet.
Welcome to, it's your boy Brian Pulido. Welcome to Coffin Comics Online 2020. We're here with our special guest, Mr. Mike DeBalfo. How you doing, Mike?
Good. Good.
All right, well, we're here and we're welcome. This is a live selling opportunity. Mike's time is very precious, and it's great to have you here, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Right on, man. This is a fun image. What's this character? Tell us a little about her.
This is Brisk Summers. This is one of my original characters I created some years ago. She's a squirrel type character girl, not squirrel girl. She's a girl who is also wearing a squirrel costume. So the last several years I've been putting some things together with them, using them as promotional characters mostly. But everybody keeps saying, we want a comic book, we want a comic book. So been working on that real slowly. I teased some pages a few months ago or so. You guys saw some of those on Instagram. And that is part of this.
So I want to let you know that this is actually a live selling event. We're going to begin showing you some cool stuff we have from Mike DeBalfo. Our landing page is going to go live just in a moment. It'll be at LadyDeathStore.com under categories, and then we have a whole section called Mike DeBalfo Live. So our guy in the back, Nick G, is going to tell us when we're live, and in the meantime, we're actually going to talk a little bit about like how you and I met back in the day and what's what.
It's a fun story. You want to tell it?
Please do.
So back in 2009, I just started out in the industry. I was with Zenescope, and I did maybe 2 or 3 covers, and I think I had 2 covers that had been published and out on the market. And Tucson Comic Con rolls around, and at the time Raven Gregory was like, "Hey, do you want to go to Tucson Comic Con with me? That'll be give you your first show ever. You can kind of see what it's like." And back then, Tucson was much smaller than it is now. Remember?
That was year 2, and it was
Yeah.
in a small room in a hotel meeting room.
Right,
which was fun actually.
Yeah. So I look at the guest list real briefly, and Brian's the only person's name on the list. I noticed, like, oh, Brian Pulido's gonna be there. That's pretty bad. That's be cool. That's cool to meet him. So I roll up with Raven down to Tucson Comic Con, and immediately I kind of get camera shy. I'm like, oh crap, I'm here at a Comic Con, and I'm supposed to be, this professional artist and all, and I got imposter syndrome kicking in, right? So anyway, long story short, I'm sitting there selling my prints, and like nothing's happening, nobody's buying anything. It's just a slow show, and so I start slashing the prices down, and maybe 30 minutes later, Brian walks over to my table, introduces himself, and goes, you don't need to discount your prices. Bring those prices back up to where they were. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, man, no, you don't need to do that. You're too good for that, basically. And that was like, that imposter syndrome I had walking into that room was kind of, vaporized at that point. It's like, wow, Brian Pulido gave me validation. It was cool. It was really cool because I was so nervous, and I wasn't anybody yet. I was just.
I do remember that moment
too.
That's how we met. Yep, that's absolutely right. So Nick G, how we doing about going live? We're gonna go live in about 3 minutes with let me tell you, this Mike DeBalfo landing page we have is gonna be pretty cool. A couple things that are brand new and fresh. And look, Mike, sometimes it's very difficult to come up with any stock in our magnificent warehouse because all your stuff sells out for us.
That's
so
cool. That's great.
It's pretty great.
That's really
we
great.
like that, and we appreciate that too. So what are you working on right now?
Right now, I'm working. Can I plug other companies?
Sure.
Okay. Right now, I say most of my time. A lot of my time right now is going to the 15th anniversary Zenescope covers. There's 12 covers we're releasing every month for the year of 2020.
Oh, that's cool.
So they really lay that on thick. I've been working on that real heavily.
So which ones have come out so far?
So far, we've only got Red Riding Hood, Snow White, and Dorothy.
Okay, so January, February, March.
Right, exactly. So there'll be more, coming out as the years come on. Brian just decided to make three more covers.
At least.
I think it was
yes.
3. Yeah, got a little email the other day from Brian. I got a cover from Marat coming up. I'm working on something for Monte.
Thanks, son.
I can lose count. I'm so busy right now.
Those are good problems to
So,
have.
yeah, it is a good problem to have. Yeah, exactly. But hence one of the reasons my time here is so short. I wish I could spend more time with
Oh,
you guys.
that's cool, man. We appreciate the
Really,
time that
really
we get. And Nick G, you just let us know, because I know that like people are like starting their engines. It's all good in the hood. We've been here. This is a Coffin Comics Con online 2020. We had our Thursday, we had our Friday, and now this is our Saturday. Totally fun, totally cool. And we've had panels. Actually, in this particular room we're in, which is the Coffin Comics Company store, we're actually going to have another panel. What is it? The Art of. And soon we're going to start revealing. But I feel it would be remiss of me to start revealing these things before you would have an opportunity to possess them. So Nick is going to let me know when we're live. He's just making a couple corrections. You can see over there, like chip, 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 chip. This is fun though. This is our company store, and we sort of shifted it around. You'll see like we have these cool custom build-outs. And behind us, our man, King Skull, that is keeping an eye on Mike. That's the king.
Grand prize is in the corner there, guys.
Oh, so yeah, we've been having raffles, and we have a raffle coming up at, well, probably another raffle within the next hour or two, but then our grand prize raffle, people will be eligible to win this magnificent statue. Now look, a remark opportunity is really challenging for Mike DeBalfo, and just there are some that were just offered recently. Nick, give me a high sign.
I'm working on making it live. I just made the adjustments. So.
All right, cool. So we're standing by. Customers are standing by. And what would be fun too, Mike, is as I begin the reveals and show people, we kind of discuss what these are about.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Okay, I have a question.
Please.
Are you guys selling cowbells because they're so metal?
Hell yeah, we're doing it. That's right. Yeah, this is something that we had to do.
That's awesome.
We're all weighted with bated breath.
Yes, right, yeah.
What's behind Actually, yeah, let's
Question
all put the cameras on.
Yeah, that'll help. Yeah, that'll help.
This will help. This will help.
Yeah, this will help.
I can pee now.
No, don't like being again.
The pizza sweat.
Will Brian and Mike sign all the books?
Yeah, I can sign everything.
Oh, yeah, we'll sign.
Okay,
Yep.
you can sign. You can sign.
Gotta verify that they buy it though. Whoever must verify, right?
Yeah. Yeah, what'll happen actually is when we show these items, there'll be the opportunity for Mike and or myself to sign them, and then we're probably going to arrange a signing time in the very near future. Just to, yes.
Michael needs more cowbell.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah! So yeah, let's see. Here's a little. Let's see a tease. Actually, that's a nice one. This is like the. You probably don't even.
I don't
remember
know. I don't remember what's in here.
Well, this was fun because we did a nighttime variation
I've
of
been
that.
asking about that so many times recently.
Well, you know what? This was originally. You'll see. Yeah. You'll see. So, okay. Sorry. Yeah. This was. Now we did this color variant. This was an instant edition from a couple of years back, and the image was done for daytime, and I had asked Jason Jensen to color it for nighttime. And what we did recently is this was an incentive. We call it a.
We're live.
We're live. We're live. We're live. So what that means is.
Mike DeBalfo live category on the left-hand side.
Yep. So you go to ladydeathstore.com. Of course.
Well,
Good. There you go. All right. So.
Show it.
Mike DeBalfo.
Show the people.
So it's right there, Mike DeBalfo.
So ladydeathstore.com. Go right there to Mike DeBalfo Live.
And then I'll show you the listing of products we have. It's not a ton because, like Brian was saying before, we sell out of his stuff.
But I gotta tell you, what we are offering is like fire. So
It's sick.
So thank you so much. We are live. Thank you very much. And we got the Elite Edition. Now this was only available to comics retailers where you had to order 10 and you'd be eligible to purchase one.
Yeah, I've been getting questions last several weeks. Hey, where is this? How do I get that? Do you have any of those? It's like, no.
Let me ask you a question. Like, I think you know that in our working relationship, I will commission covers, but you may not necessarily know when they're coming out.
Absolutely, yes. That's absolutely. I think we talked recently. It's always like, I have a baby due, and I don't know when it's coming, and it's kind of when it pops out. And it's always nice. It's as much of a surprise for me as it is for the fiends.
Yeah, people say like, I would have to have like another full-time person to explain to like call everybody up and say this is coming out here.
Oh yeah, no, it's fun. It's a lottery for me. I like it. I don't know, and sometimes you just sit and wait, and it comes out, and you're like, oh, that came out really cool.
I have like files where I have everything on display, and for me, I'm sort of in a Machiavellian way. I'm like, okay, what goes here, what goes there, what feels right, and I thought that we hadn't had. So this was originally offered through the comics market only, and only as an incentive available to retailers. And I just thought, I was like, okay, we haven't had a DeBalfo as an incentive ever. So, and our incentive editions have gone full color. So this is one that's available to you. Probably this is literally the first time that we have offered it for sale to the public. This was originally a retail incentive edition. So look, if you want Mike DeBalfo or myself to sign it, go to LadyDeathStore.com. The Mike DeBalfo live sale landing page is live, and all the items that we're going to be offering and showing you here are available now for your perusal. But without further ado, let's reveal the next image, which is, and I'll reveal it to Mike too, so perhaps you could comment.
Oh, nice.
So this was.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a nice variation.
Yeah.
So this is Nightmare Symphony Naughty Edition, inked by Jeremy Clark, and colored, that's a dead ringer of Sanju. So we could talk a little bit about that image too. That image was...
That was the anniversary cover, right? And
yes.
You sent me the original Lady Death concept sketch that you did.
Yeah.
And said, we want to recreate this.
Yes, exactly.
And, yeah, I was like, oh, I felt that was really nice. You know, the fact that you asked me to do that, of all the people you work with.
Yeah.
You work with some of the best cover artists in the industry, arguably. And like you approached me for that. Like that was touching, man.
Right on. Well, it was cool. That was that was about 2 years ago. We both showed up to a retail experience at Jesse James Comics.
That's right. Yeah.
And this is a cool color variation, and that's all you. So we had the basic edition, and then the design adjustments, and then. You know, when we work with these talented people, like let's say, I mean, a guy like, first of all, Mike or Jeremy, kind of just let him go do his thing, and then Sanju, I could give that guy like,
oh my God,
give that guy like 3 words of what to do, and he's just off to the races.
He's a beast.
He's a beast, and it's kind of, I mean, this is, in a way, this is like a golden era for comic creators and cover maestros. Sure. You know, and Sanju's like riding that wave.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, guy's a beast. That's available for $40. I think we have a couple of those. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns for myself or Mike DeBalfo, you're willing to hit us up. Besides just being live selling, we're kind of here to kind of connect with you.
So Peter's asking remarks. So no remarks on this one?
So no remarks. Guys. So by agreement, no remarks, if only because of Mike's schedule. So sorry about that.
But we are doing CGC.
Yes, we are absolutely signing and grading these. So yes, we do. So we'll do, to clarify, we will, Coffin Comics is a facilitator for CGC. Mike and I could sign, and whatever Mike's fee is already built into the book. And what we can do is we CGC books for $45, and then shipping will be $15.95 for the first book, $2 for every slab thereafter, and that is for the shipping that goes from CGC to you directly. So yeah, this will be a yellow label signature series, the rare opportunity to get a Pulido DeBalfo.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Also, Superstar Sanju is watching right now.
Dang, Sanju,
what?
What's up?
Yeah.
Have you met Sanju in person?
No, I was so bummed when he came, and I had to miss him.
It's a shame. I met Sanju in New York. It was wonderful. So happy. Thank you for everything, Sanju. Sanju's like been busting out the colors for us, and man, there's a whole list of cool stuff. Sanju, I got a couple covers I'm going to send to you early next week also.
No doubt.
Yeah, good stuff. Amazing. So, you see something going on there, Jimmy? I see a smile on Jimmy's face.
We got 50 people in here right now. Somebody said they got number 1, and Lisa said she couldn't help it. She got...
Lisa.
Lovely Lisa bought the Hell Queen edition.
Oh, you got way ahead of what we're showing, but that's a great one. Yeah,
I love this one so much.
So this one was pretty neat. This was the for the Fiend Fest. Edition.
Yes. Gosh, that one has a little bit of a story.
That has a story.
It's not an interesting story, but I drew that, like, we'll say 3-4 years ago.
Yep.
And nothing ever happened for it. I remember you pitched it to me. The concept was to recreate a page of...
From Evil Learn to Youth Gone Wild, one of the first appearances of Lady Death all, recreating a moment where she's in this seductive pose.
Right. And Jeremy Clark was supposed to ink that. If I remember correctly, something with my schedule, I was running really late, and I turned it in last minute, so unfortunately Jeremy didn't get to ink it. But it didn't get published for a very, very long time. And then at Fiend Fest, we had that postcard.
Yep.
I was like, oh, cool, here it is. And that's never been a cover before, has it?
No, that is the cover, yeah.
Right, okay, so that's the cover.
That was its main use. However, I will tell you that we did do a sister incentive book, which is your
Oh,
raw
no
work.
way, that's cool.
Yeah,
I'm geeking out of my own stuff right now. I'm like, I want
My
that!
stuff! Yeah, so, this way you could see the raw,
That's cool.
unadulterated,
Pencils.
pencils of DeBalfo, and then the coloring. On that case, that was, I think it was CC. Yeah, CC De La
Yeah,
Cruz.
CC colored those.
Yeah,
I
super
gotta
cool.
say, I love the hair.
Thanks, man.
I mean, that is.
That was a particular note from Brian. I remember him saying, "Make the hair huge."
I'm glad I'm here with
So,
you.
yeah.
When we first introduced Lady Death, the comic book, she was a co-star in a comic book I did called Evil Ernie that came out in '91. But I conceived both those characters in about '87, '88, and I'm going to metal shows. I'm going to see Onsies, seeing all the thrash bands, and of course the gals back then, their hair were huge. There's 20 Catane on the car in the White Snake video.
Yeah.
So look, I got no apologies about it.
Hell no.
As you know, I
No,
don't.
no.
So it's like Lady Death with the big hair. I was like, let's go back to it. Let's bigger the better.
Yeah, I think it's great.
It's got like a flowing ghost.
It's got a
feel.
life to itself.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
why I
it's
love
a
it
part
so
of her
much.
character.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Yeah. The pro tip with Lady Death too is that if you look at the character, imagine she's sort of operating in water. So
Yeah,
I think
right.
if you were to
Yes.
see her hair is always moving
Yeah,
and
ghostly.
undulating.
Right.
Yeah. And particularly now, like we've done a turn where she's become the villain in her own comic
that's
book.
cool.
So she is even more ethereal and kind of floating around. So yeah, these editions are available on our store right now.
What's this one limited to?
This one probably was limited in the 400 range. Yeah, because these two were offered to the comics market. There's actually an incentive edition for the comics market as well, so that puts them probably about in the 400 range.
And then this one, the incentive, that's also
Might be.
less than that.
Yeah, I think it was less. I believe that was around 3.
Less.
Yeah, we don't have stated ones on those because they're for the comics market. So we actually have all the files standing by at the printer, and when we get the numbers from Diamond, we then just we go to press. Whereas in let's say limited editions, we can state what they'll be because sometimes the fluctuation in the comic market stuff can be hundreds.
Oh, totally.
So we don't know. But yeah, usually the range on these are like 300 to 400.
A spot of Hell Queen. I don't.
You're gonna see it, and you're gonna
That's
like it.
two Hell Queens.
And you're gonna like it, and you're gonna love it. So here's another.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this is a classic, man.
Oh man, yeah.
Come on, that one's a great one.
Yeah.
So that one was actually part of. That was another. It was part of a naughty box set.
Okay.
Yeah, so we only had a couple of spares out of that. So there's just a couple that came out of that. Beautiful image.
That's actually the first and only cover I've ever drawn completely digitally.
Oh no way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
There's no original pencils on that.
Oh, that's a really good
The
story.
first and only. I tried it out and I was like, it's cool, but I love paper, so did it
It's
once and then
super
never came
clean.
back.
I mean, that's clean.
Yeah, that's probably why digital
Yeah.
pencils are just super tight.
Colors on it are great too.
So,
but
and then
the
Sandra, of course,
character-
Sandra does his thing over the top of that.
Wow.
It's
Yeah, it's
lightning in a
cool.
bottle.
I mean, the trick too with Sanju or dealing with Lady Death, sometimes when we do the white treatment, is just telling the folks, it's like, well, everything's white about her, but think about it. It's like her skin tone will be one thing, the latex will be another, and there's a lot more dimension than you'd imagine. Billy.
How do they add CGC at checkout? Is it an option, or they put it in the comic shipping?
So there's two ways to do CGC at checkout. Wait till you go down to your shopping cart, you're going to see the comments section, and just put a note in that you want to CGC your book. Our customer service staff will be in touch with you within 72 hours, and we'll get clear and make an agreement on what you want, whether it's 1 or 5. Now, if you so happen to have already checked out, but you still want CGC, for the next 72 hours, you could send us a comment or send us an email at inquiries@coffincomics.com, put your order number in the subject line, and simply let us know what you want to do. We'll get back in touch with you, we'll sort out our deal, and we'll be off to the races.
Also, Nia Rufino, superstar artist, is watching as well.
Nia Rufino, how you doing?
Hell yeah.
Good times. Nia Rufino's definitely a contributor
We go
to
way
Coffin
back.
Comics. Yep, go back. A lot of cool stuff we've done together. Nice to hear you out there.
So sorry, one more
No,
question.
Billy, you could ask as many questions. No need for apologies.
Okay, Billy, please ask Brian how I can get the cowbell. It's not on their site. I need it to go.
You need a
with my-
fever first, then you get the cowbell.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
I need it to go with my signed Ben Shepherd and Chad Channing one.
Well, I'll tell you what. At Coffin Comics, we are specialists at things that are flat and thin. We are not specialists at cool stuff we have like the drink glasses. So for better or for worse, if you want a cowbell, a shot glass, a beer mug, any of that stuff, you're going to have to visit us in Arizona, HQ, right here at our shop. So that is the answer for now. You got to come to Swornfest
Please.
2021, happening February 26th through 28th, and you can get them when you walk through the gift shop.
Bring your feet.
Maybe I'll get you one, Lisa.
There you go. So moving on. Oh, son. Check this one out.
Oh, yes.
So this has got a great story too.
Yeah.
So this is an instant edition, but this was created at our last festival. And what happened there is you have Mike DeBalfo taking lead in the layout, but we had contributions by other artists, including, well, of course, Monte Moore, the art assassin himself, David Harrigan, Jesse Witchman, and Jason Jensen.
Yep.
And if I could set the scene for you, we actually had Mike do the layout. When it was done, I said, hey, would that be great if Monte Moore came up and did a little tiny piece,
exactly.
and then David Harrigan. So really what you're seeing, have you done a collab like that before?
No, never. I've talked to so many artists, like, you know, hey, let's do a collaboration piece. And you know how artists are, we're all kind of flaky. It never happens. So that's the only time anything like that's ever happened.
Wow.
With me.
Yeah, it was fun. I just thought it might be a fun thing to do. Everybody got to see it, and you know, within 2.5 hours, that thing was given life, and it was off to the printer. And then that time, the next day, people got it in their hands. And the true story is, since we decided to do this, we had to go deep into the archive and find through the warehouse, just find a couple of these. So this is it's just an incredible experience. Yeah, good work, man. A lot of fun.
Cool.
Thank you.
A lot of fun, yeah.
And I must say selfishly that the artists gifted that original to myself and to HQ, and we will have it on display by the time Swornfest rolls around.
Very cool.
Yep, have its own little display.
There's no signing option for you guys yet in the drop down. Should they just put it in the inquiries or comments?
Start there. I'll actually make a quick comment. Just give me 30
I think
seconds.
there is an option.
Okay.
Both Pulido and DeBalfo for this.
Okay.
There is?
But he's asking if Monte Moore can sign that one as
Oh,
well.
yes.
Oh.
You'd have to put, now if you want Monte Moore to sign that particular one, you'd have to put it in the comments. I'd go all caps on that. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, I think we could get him to do it. We have Monte a couple more days before he heads back to Colorado. Next up, boom, Hell Witch Hellborn. This was a comic market edition. This is probably one of our tamer books.
Yes.
However, it does come with a sister project, which is the risque version, which was limited to what, 250 copies. So you could look at these as a set in a sense. Mike, a lot of people are pointing out that on this one they liked how the guy was getting stabbed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
See if I can
I want
kind
to
of
do
cover her up.
some.
It doesn't work as well. Trying to cover her up for Facebook. They're two different treatments. And here is the $8 one for the comics market, and then this is the risque one. And I don't want to get in trouble or go to jail. Go to Facebook jail. So that's a risque one. I know some of you guys and gals out there on our store have been enjoying it, but I'll show you it again. And now, boom! I love this piece.
Oh
This
my
was
God.
La Muerta Retribution Nori Sombra edition. Dude, one of my favorite covers you've ever done.
Yeah, that was a lot of
my
fun.
God.
That was definitely outside the box of what I normally get to play with.
So Sombra is a character in La Muerta who's a rockabilly witch, and sometimes she'll do these spells, and she has to get into a sensual mindset to bring certain things to life. What were you thinking about when we did this one?
Originally, it started out as a completely different idea. I remember doing layouts and thumbnails with you, and I forget what it was. It wasn't jiving. And you said, hey, what if we try this? Why don't we have her in a pentagram circle surrounded by candles, kind of doing a voodoo spell? I'm like, well, that's cool. And man, the ideas started pouring to me. Like, I did probably 9 to 10 thumbnail layouts for it, and it never happens. I looked at them when I was done, and I said, whichever one Brian picks, I'm good with any of them.
Wow.
You know, usually we're like, I hope he doesn't pick this one. I hope he doesn't pick those two. With that one, with those thumbs, it's like, whatever he picks, man, I'm totally good with it. And that's...
You know what I loved about this piece? It's hyper stylized. The anatomy is impossible, but it works.
Yeah, right.
Right, she's all legs.
Yeah.
And very evocative. You know, having that super amazing Grim Reaper
Oh, yeah, the
Santa
Grim Reaper,
Muerte.
that's right. Yeah, he was a ton of fun to draw.
Super cool. But yeah, if you were to ever read our story, La Muerta, this character Sombra is sort of like she's the person in the city who knows the supernatural's goings on. She's neither good nor bad. She's not necessarily active, but she's the person people come in and check in on to get supernatural information. Moving on. Gorgeous. Hell. So this is La Muerta Ascension, Nori Mama Z, limited to 150. And Mama Z. So these actually make a set with 2 different treatments. The character Mama Z. Character Mama Z is actually La Muerta's arch villain. Here we are 5 chapters into La Muerta. And this character Mama Z, Z stands for Zalvada, is the head of an occult-leaning crime cartel. And any thoughts going on when you did those?
That one you specifically directed me towards From Dusk Till Dawn, Selma Hayek. You were like, this is what I want. You were adamant about it. Like, all right, that's what Brian wants, man. That makes my job easy, though.
True.
When the editor knows what he wants, that makes my job super easy. So, it's I got to look at Selma Hayek in a bikini for hours on end, doing reference and stuff like that.
Tough job.
Oh man, I hated every minute of it.
That part of that
God,
movie.
I mean, for sure, in our mind, when and if La Muerta ever became a movie, Salma Hayek could play Mama Z. Like the way I see it, it could be J-Lo, it could be Salma Hayek, it could be Sofia Vergara. Like any of those ladies could play our arch villain, Mama Z. So also, let's see here. We couldn't show that one. We had a couple prints available that Mike would be available to sign. The first one, actually, I love this. So this is actually a very, very clever, I'd like to say, a clever variation on the original art theme image. So you're going to pop that in there too. Okay. Because you remember the 2 of those relate.
Yep.
So you guys, you did a variant. I got to tell you, man, we did, sometimes the print runs on our stuff is criminally low. So we did this image against holofoil. And it was low. I don't know what it was. It was like 40 or something. I don't know. And we brought it a couple years ago to Denver, and it sold out like in a second.
It'll probably look awesome against a holofoil.
Oh, dude. It definitely another one of my favorites. And I think the trick here is we knocked the background out through the coffin skull in the back. And look who's here, Lady Death.
Hello.
So Lady Death is joining the festivities. Welcome, Lady Death, during this.
What are we looking at?
Right now, we're looking at you seeming to have a very vampire-y kind of vibe. I don't know if that's blood or wine, frankly.
Who knows? Could be either.
Could be a mixture of both.
25.
So that's So I also like that she does kind of look like a vampire, straight up.
She does.
Clearly.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, we actually kind of got a lot of cool variations.
We did 3
on that image.
2 patches and 1 regular version of that one.
Yeah, they're all work. It's so funny too. Like, I could probably go back in my files. There's probably something we didn't use.
Oh, probably. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sure you could make something else work. Yeah.
Yeah, I was working with Marat earlier, and we had done a Walking Dead 1 homage. In the first version, he did actually had a hellscape in the background. We didn't use it because we actually did the Walking Dead background, which was a building. So that was a reminder.
Right.
And as I'm looking at these, I'm like, I think
you can swap the hands around and the hair.
Yeah, there's something
you can keep
that we
going
haven't.
with that
Yeah.
one. You can totally keep going with it.
Yeah, it's neat. Yeah,
Can I answer a quick question?
Yeah.
Sean, I would never do that. He wants to know if I could sign it too and get it slabbed with. I'm not going to sign those books. They're too. Please no. I feel uncomfortable. But thank you. Sean.
Sounds like Billy's declining. So here's another gorgeous image.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, that's a super fun one.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
We saw that at your Kickstarter. She was rocking the flame.
Yep, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. Ladith was rocking that flame. Now, if I remember correctly, we were trying to get that done pretty fast last January because we knew we were going to make that the stand-up for Lady Death Day.
Yeah, exactly.
Lady Death Day.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So we're able to, every year we do a thing called Lady Death Day, and it celebrates her first appearance in comics on February 9th of every year. And at that time, that was either the 24th or 25th anniversary, the game is to show the full figure character. We give fans a full resolution cutout. You can make it 6 foot, 10 foot tall, and then we ask people to walk around all day, whatever they're doing that day with Lady Death. Whether you're hiking or you're going shopping, bring Lady Death with you. And it's funny. One time I said to everybody, whoever could get Lady Death into a strip club and take a picture, get a special prize. So we got this one guy who's like who goes in the parking lot with the sign, takes a picture, and he's like, well, that's as close as I can get. My wife wouldn't let me go inside. I'm like, that's not the prize. The prize was the whole thing.
Is that still happening? That
every year,
competition for the strip club? Because I'll do it.
I'm sure you will.
I'll bring Lady Death in it.
Okay.
We're going.
There we go.
So we will do it again, as we do every year. So we'll do it February 9th for Lady Death Day, and that'll be the 4th annual that we celebrate. So yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that one or what was going on.
No, it was a little fast paced, like you said, because it was kind of last minute.
Yep.
And I was like, oh man, Jeremy inked this. If I draw the rest of the figure, we need to get Jeremy to ink the rest of the figure. And I hit him up out of the blue, and I'm like, hey dude, how fast can you ink?
Right.
And I don't remember the whole shebang of it all, but he was like, oh yeah, I can do that real fast. And it was down to the wire, but we got it done.
Yeah, that Jeremy inked some stuff under Crazy Dress like he was about to go to Dubai.
Yeah, right, exactly.
He's like, yeah, I'll knock it out.
Yeah, right, that's dealing with Jeremy every single time. Yeah, exactly.
I'll fit it in between Dubai and Antarctica.
Yeah, right, wherever he's going. He's always on the road. So
that final image reminds me of Christine Brinkley. I don't know why.
This one here?
Oh yeah, Christina Brinkley. No, Uptown Girl.
Yes.
Oh, over here, yeah.
Uptown Girl.
I just had a big crush on her when I was growing up. But someone asked about COAs, if they're just going to get a sign. We know that yours comes with one.
Yep.
Would it be authenticating his signature as well on it? How is that going to work?
Mine doesn't. Do you have a general COA?
I don't. I should make one.
Yeah, it's easy enough to make one.
Yeah.
So I mean, right now, I'll provide COAs for my SIGs, and it's mine. Mike doesn't have one currently, so it wouldn't come. And then if any of these things are graded, CGC separates our certificate from the graded book. It won't go in the plastic enclosure. They won't throw it away, but they'll send it back to you. So
yeah,
that's the answer to that one.
More concerned about if they're just buying it raw.
Got it. Well, I mean, that's not a bad idea. I don't think it's going to happen for this weekend, but it's something you could consider. Yeah, because that comes up a lot. Whoops, I just automatically. We usually sometimes preload them. Anyway, I do sign them.
I've seen some of your COAs that say it certifies
my
not
SIG.
only you, but some.
Well, I realize that I don't know on who's signing what when, so
sure.
That's usually for mine. So yeah, to recap some of the cool ones again, this one is probably no more than 10 days on art on the stands. This was an image that Mike did, and originally it was a daytime image, sort of a sunny, which is rare, by the way. It's probably like one in every 100 covers is day.
Is a daytime cover in hell. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But this one is at night, and I know I commissioned it right then and there. I was like, hey dude, can you do a nighttime variant? And then I was sort of feeling it for this Scorched Earth, which just hit comic book shops maybe 2 weeks ago, and only available as a as an incentive book. Really,
there's been some hype around that one lately.
Yeah, it's
beautiful.
Cool. We used to do incentives where they would be like, let's say, more like this, where it's the line art edition, and then just flipped over to what we're calling now Elite and offering full color imagery. In fact, dude, I think yours is the first one we did. Because in a marketing and promotional sense, we're working on July.
Okay.
But yeah, the first one hit the stands here. It's pretty cool. And then of course the ones we did for Fiend Fest, which are the callbacks. So I don't know if you guys have any more questions, comments, or concerns. You're welcome to let us know. Mike's here just for a very short period of time. Coming up next, he'll actually work on a panel.
Yes.
But yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, ask, guys. We got a couple minutes here. If there's anything else.
So these are the only things that we have at DeBalfo because everything else is gone.
I get that a lot.
Yeah.
I get that a lot, yeah.
Good problems to have. Of course, I have my personal stash.
We're hiding one of the best ones.
Oh, Ryan Kincaid. He's saying Mike is king.
Hey,
There
Ryan,
you go.
what's up, man?
Yep, so this is the risque version. We're offering for $30. And yeah, this one still, I'm not doing a great job of showing it, but it definitely has a different color treatment and stuff. And we don't want to get in trouble. Now it seems like Facebook's algorithm actually catches stuff like this, even on video.
Okay,
yeah, kind of crazy.
What's interesting is I've seen people go live like Cho.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's drawing it.
I don't know what to say.
Isn't that interesting?
I mean, in another one of our streams, actually, that person got popped. So.
Oh, really?
I heard.
Yeah, so we don't want to ever get popped.
Troy
or else
says,
then we have to turn Lady Death on them.
I'll take some people out.
I'm sure you will.
Troy has a comment here. Mike has sexy hair.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
I'm working on my own Lady Death cosplay.
That's
I haven't announced it yet, but it's coming.
It's really good.
It's coming.
I like it.
So I hope everyone's having a good time. This has been a wild last couple of days, all day Thursday, all day Friday. And yesterday was a real fun panel with Becoming Lady Death. It was 3 different panels as Sapphire Nova became the character Lady Death.
Because it does take me that long to become Lady Death.
That's cool.
About 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Really?
Do the contact lenses go on last?
Yeah, they're actually the very last thing I put on because once they go in, I can't see clear enough to be able to because basically when I paint up, I start streaky and then I have to use like a makeup wedge to blot it out so I don't stay streaky. It looks nice and even like it's my real skin.
Wow.
And once the contacts go in, I can't tell the difference between streaks and blots and stuff like that. It all looks pretty even to me. So I have to make sure all makeup's done, all painting's done, everything. It's the very last thing that goes in.
Super crazy.
Ace says, oh, sorry.
10 more minutes. They're saying 10 more minutes.
Ace says, say hello to Lady Death. White Dog has a question for, well, maybe his name's Mike, because we have Mike here. It says, Mike, Brian, where do you think Lamerta will be heading in the future with, oh, damn it.
Well, we already know that Lamerta...
Will she cross over universes?
So, okay, I can answer that quickly. So, the current Lady Death Kickstarter, Malevolent Decimation, does co-star La Muerta.
Ooh.
Because actually, Lady Death becomes the villain in her own comic book, so we needed a hero. And it's actually La Muerta teaming up with another character, Hellslinger, and a brand new Demon Hunter character, Waijai, which means assassin in Swahili.
Cool.
Yeah, he's kind of rad. He's fun.
awesome.
He's sort of like our version of Blade. He's a guy who, at wartime in Africa, during his birth, his mother was accosted by demons, consorted with demons, and out of the birth came this half human, half demon instead. And amazing, if you could think about it, in Africa, even like 10, 15 years ago, the guy was raised and became a baby soldier, which would not be unusual. And our guy Muchai's cool. He's like he's an actual medical doctor, but although half human, half demon, he does hunt demons, and the story does bring him to New Orleans.
Cool.
Fun character. Really fun design. Yes.
Question from Bob Wren. Mike.
Bob.
Mike, when doing a Lady Death cover, is it hard to come up with a pose?
Yes, because I've done so many at this point. Yeah. At first it was real easy. It's gotten to the point now where I've done Lady Death so much. And again, there's so many other great cover artists that Brian's working with now. It's like, oh, I wish I did that pose. You know? And you don't want to redo what Jesse Wishman did or, Don McTeague did. So you have to come up with your own. And it is getting more challenging as time goes on. So yeah, for me personally, I'm having to, be on my toes more than I used to be.
And I think for me too, as art director, I'm never trying to present the same image twice.
Totally, yeah,
so I'm like 28 years into the repository of imagery and trying to encourage people. And it'll be funny sometimes when I'm working with someone new, they're like, well, I'm really attached to this image. And I'm like, well, I dig it, but we've done it 4 times, since 1990. And I'm your coach. I'm trying to help. I want you to win, I'm really surprised when, Adam, you turned in a piece where it was like, I've never seen that pose of Lady Death ever.
Really?
Yeah, because she was sort of like this.
I'll leave it to Adam.
Of course. Yeah, this guy's great. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's tough when you're knocking out like 3 or 4 covers in a year. It's like, okay, how can they be different? Right. And I feel it's partially my job is trying to set the scene where it could be different. Yeah, for sure. And to finish that one question about La Muerta. So La Muerta actually does cross over into Lady Death. Then this year, La Muerta has a story we're launching on Kickstarter in May called Retaliation. But then La Muerta Chapter 7 in May 2021 is a big most of the year is a company crossover. Cool. So yeah, our 4 main storylines all have all the characters. It's kind of like our Secret Wars, let's say.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
Yeah, it's going to be real cool. It's very difficult to write.
So Alan has a question. He said, this has always bothered me. Where does Lady Death get her outfits? So we got Marat creating the weapons. Where does she get the...
She goes to Ross. Dress for less.
Is that true?
Completely.
It would be like let's see, Neiman Marcus. It could be like Demon Marcus.
I like that.
Demon
That's
Mucus.
nice.
Demon Mucus.
Yeah. I do not mean to disregard your question. I will have to. I think it's a fair question, and I think there's a couple things that we could agree upon that happen off screen in comic book storytelling. So it's characters using the bathroom, characters eating, and characters shopping. We did have one storyline, if you guys remember, way back, I think it was called The Gauntlet, maybe, where you actually saw Lady Death come to Earth and adopt a human guise because her powers were stripped of her. And there was actually a scene where she shopped, and she was trying to come up with a costume. But I think, for example, like, I think at some level with Lady Death, she's so powerful that subconscious stuff happens, and she might, I mean, no joke, that she seems, to me, she draws energy from the earth or whatever her surroundings are, and then sometimes it could just be like knitting itself on her, honestly. And it's something we might not see, but
It's cool.
Yeah.
Seems plausible.
yeah, it's plausible. I mean, she can be so powerful, and I think we've actually kept her fairly grounded recently, but in this new storyline, Malevolent Decimation and this summer's Treacherous Infamy, she really is tapping into like a larger power. And we noticed ever since she came back to Earth, she does appear to have more power. Bill, Jimmy, you seem to be smiling about something.
So you probably get this a lot. What are the names of the nameless wolves?
The nameless, that's the names.
Yeah. That would cancel out that would negate the purpose of the characters if you gave them names.
They're nameless. Yeah, they are without names. Well, here's a crazy one. I mean, you guys seen a little deep track out there. So in the 90s, there was the character Purgatory, and when she first appeared, she had her own steed, like Lady Death had Visago. Extra credit for anyone out there who could name that steed, which was named only once. So good luck on that one.
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm not answering it. You got to answer.
Got 5 minutes left here.
Yeah, I got about 5 minutes left. But again, we're here at a live selling event. Mike DeBalfo flew in from the DeBalfo Island. DeBalfo Island.
Oh, another question from Bob Wren. So we know Captain America is Brian's favorite character.
Yes.
Does Mike have a favorite
Rogue.
character?
Oh.
Big rogue guy. You all know Troy. Troy was over at my place a few months ago. We walked into my little studio work area, and he was kind of like, "Yeah, I think for Rogue, huh?" He's just looking around the room.
Oh, everything's Rogue.
It's getting to be that way. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's been since 1992.
So what is it about Rogue?
I don't know. As a kid, I thought she was hot. You know, and I was like 11, 12, 13 years old. Like, oh, she's hot. But as I got older, it's weird to say about a girl, but I started relating to the character. Just the way that she is a happy-go-lucky, sassy, spirited character, but on the inside, she's kind of detached.
Well, she's
you know?
cursed, right? She at the
Right,
top,
she can't touch
She
anyone.
can't touch anyone.
So she has this fear of being too close to anybody, emotionally or physically, because she doesn't want to get, her heart broken, and she doesn't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
So it's weird how, my life eventually became that way. So, yeah, I love Rogue absolutely 100%, and Magneto.
Yeah.
And Cyclops. I love all the X-Men.
Magneto. Thanos.
Right.
Darkseid, Darkseid.
Tomato. Something like that.
Yeah, I've always said Magneto. I've always said the name's
I've
wrong.
always said Magneto too.
Yeah, people say Neto, right?
Well, Stan Lee said Neto, didn't he? I heard somebody say that once. Like Stan Lee said Magneto.
Okay.
I wasn't there. I
always
didn't ask
Neato.
him,
So it should be spelled Magneato.
Right. Neat. He's very
Magneto.
He's very clean. He's like spit and span all over the place.
Yeah.
And Sheldon wants to know, Mike, are there any covers that you have done that homage to Dave Stevens' work?
Dave Stevens, no, that's actually a good question. That would be something cool to do. I haven't done many homages. I actually did, I can say my first homage on a Lady Death cover we got coming up. I did a Michael Turner homage.
Yes.
That's not completely obvious, but it's definitely there, and I notated
Yep.
it. But Dave Stevens is amazing. I should look into that, actually. I never thought about it.
Now that project, or that cover that you did is for a secret project,
Yes.
and believe it or not, like no one knows about it. Like I could just say in vague terms, but dude, there are 24 artists involved in that project.
What?
24 different, nothing
Dang,
repeated, and they're
wow.
all like on your caliber,
Yeah, cool.
and all over the place. Yeah, so there is a secret Lady Death project. All I've said up until now is it's a secret Lady Death project, but you're involved, and it's like all the familiar suspects and quite a lot of pleasant surprises.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, pretty cool.
3 minutes left.
So we have 3 minutes left for the Mike DeBalfo live sale. In advance, we want to thank Mike DeBalfo for sparing time,
Thanks, man.
coming in from Mike DeBalfo Island.
Thank you.
And these items are going to be up there for the next couple of minutes, maybe a little bit beyond that, and we'll make arrangements to sell these books or get these books graded for you. We thank you so much for the opportunity. But here's the great news. The day is not over. I don't even know what time it is now.
Neither do I. I have no idea what time it is.
It's almost 3:45.
Okay, it's almost 3:45 because we've been inside HQ with all the everything.
It's all black anyway.
It's all blackened out.
It's all nighttime in here.
And so coming up at 4 o'clock, probably in this room. Actually, we're going to have some panels, and we have live selling opportunities occurring in other rooms in HQ. We have Clan McDonald in the house, Marat Mychaels, Monte Moore, Lady Death, the great economics and comics, sick of the sickos. So we got another minute or two. Anything you'd like to say to the people?
Thanks.
Joel.
Oh, well, we had asked before, and Brian said he needs perfect silence to write. Marat said he needs chaos in the background to draw. How about you?
Oh, Brian knows this, I listen to death metal almost all the time.
Oh, nice.
And it's loud a lot of times too. I need that. I need that. Yeah.
Where's that? There's this new metal band I've been listening to. It has the word orange in it. It's not Orange
Code
Goblin.
Orange.
What is it?
Code Orange?
Code Orange.
Yeah.
Code Orange. That's the new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to them on the way in. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
good
cool.
times, man.
A lot of metal.
A lot of weird metal going on now, like Ginger.
Oh yeah, it's getting all
Poppy.
fused together. Yeah, Poppy's a male band now too. Yeah. It's
Crazy
strange
stuff. Well, I'll tell you what. This is what I got to say. You guys have been great. I've been Brian Pulido. You've been
Mike DeBalfo.
You've been.
Lady Death.
And we're going to sign off on this one. I think Economics and Comics is going to keep going. Please be here at 4 o'clock when Coffin Comics Online 2020 resumes. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Easy.
You did it.
You got it really good. I did it.
You did it, Bobby. I'm so proud of you.
Okay, guys, about 15 minutes. I'm not sure what we're going to be doing next, but I'm going to leave you on. I'm going to go hide you somewhere
Yep.
and charge up for a minute.
This is the art
Those
of the cover.
DeBalfos are going to be available.
We have a Mike DeBalfo. We have a
They love you. Oh, oh, God. See that? Doing a little kissy poo. This is the coolest room in the building. That's just her.
Oh, it's just me?
Just her.
It's very true.
Just her. What's going on here next? Do you know?
I don't know.
Let me see. Okay, so we have Coffin Brian. 4 to 4:45 live selling with Coffin Brian. So that must be here. Live selling with Coffin Brian.
That is going to be. Oh, that's
Down here, right here, right here.
Oh, there. Live selling with Coffin and Brian. Yeah, I guess that's going to be here at 4 o'clock. Oh, we got a raffle going too.
That's at 4:45, bro. The raffle's at 4 in an hour.
Oh, jeez.
And then the final raffle will be 2 hours later. So I
Wait to see who wins those
statues. Yeah.
gorgeous.
I'm just gonna hide this right here.
Okay.
Or I'm just gonna point it this way. Actually, you care if I just put it right here for while we're?
No, I will do my best to avoid that at all costs.
All right, let me talk to Brian just to make sure.
What up?
Hey,
there he is.
selling in here at
We're trying to figure it out.
It may be a break. We'll see. It has a little bit to do with it.
Would you like me to send out the last of the exclusive? I don't know if we have anything left to sell.
Let's find out.
That's cool.
Let's see. I want to give. Actually, excuse me. Being responsible, I need a break. Everyone has to be lost.
15 minutes, guys. We're figuring out what's going to happen next. 15 minutes. I'll let you know in about 10, okay? Be right back. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. Here. Yeah, I'm sure you guys are doing really well since the pandemic. Everyone's at home. That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying in the chat. There you go. Check out some art germ for a couple minutes, guys.
it's bad. Really bad.
I mean, I'll hear your motive, which isn't much for him as it was for me, but, you know. How you doing, man?
I'm alright, losing my voice.
Oh, I needed to get you Tylenol. Come with me. Right, because I forget.
Let me grab my cup.
Yeah, they're making them finish up. Yeah. Boo-hoo. Boo-hoo. 30 days from now, the entire country will be shut down. Yeah, why do you do? Dude, I have friends in other industries, and their entire industry is already doesn't exist. People do live, your friends might do live events in industries like Amazon Web Service or giant industries like pharmaceutical, where they put on what I call the rah-rah shows for those businesses. And 55 live events got canceled, and this whole company had to lay off 200 people yesterday. Overnight. Like in the vet, people who've been with the company 10 years, it's like, I'm sorry, you're out. So we don't have a business anymore.
It's just crazy. And just how quickly it switched.
What's that?
It's like I took longer notice. Like,
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, it's like, what's that? And they're always like, I don't know.
well, even stuff so like simple. Like somebody got diagnosed at one of the Amazon delivery services, and like there's already
This,
panic over that.
Arizona just brings it up. Like the heat of Arizona.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've read about this. Yeah, it'll be like the first year ever we wanted to get hot fast.
Yeah, right. But then on the other hand, we can have this like swarm of people heading here then, so. Yeah.
So true. Yeah, I'm like assessing something like, wait, why are you coughing? And I was like, just life kind of stuff, or it's like, there's more to it.
It's so funny because like I have really bad allergies, especially like right now where like it's allergy season, and every time I sneeze now, people like look.
It's you!
I'm like, you guys
Monte's in that, right?
sneezing is not even one of the symptoms.
No, we have to start on time.
It's like, if you look at like the CDC said, people are like,
Alright, cool. So this is for us when we start trying to live sell again with plans.
Cool. Do you want this stuff out, or you want me to take this stuff down?
No, I want to. We
Okay,
have to
cool.
sell their allocation of our stuff.
Cool.
And then start, we need what?
I have a request.
What?
For these,
Yep.
estimate guaranteeing Mike or Monte's signatures might become difficult.
Oh, they're not on any of that stuff.
No, but I'm just saying,
Oh,
so let's
moving
not
forward,
say, you know, we
Mike
can
and
say,
Monte.
we'll try our best. Cause
Okay.
I don't feel like Mike's schedule and I wasn't
Mike
planning
has
on.
agreed on this, the session that we just did. He's gonna come back, we're gonna get it to him.
Okay, cause I'm not planning on pulling any of this until the end of the month after Kickstarter, so Monte's not
I get
even
it.
gonna be here.
Okay.
So, but
Okay,
just
so,
letting you know,
this session
Don't
is only
guarantee.
mine signature.
yes.
I'll tell that to Clan.
And we can
Oh, this
try
is
our
Clan
best.
stuff.
Oh, yeah, so that's all Steve, right?
Right, yes.
So, yeah,
That's what I think
he
we're
can
talking
work
about.
that.
That's his business.
I'm just talking our orders as well. If-
Well, I mean, whatever we've promised up until now.
I know, we're gonna have to figure, it'll work,
It's not a big deal.
yeah.
There's shipping, we ship things.
It's one of the things I found about working here, we always figure out a way to
It's
make
a
it
true
work.
story.
Yeah, it's just a problem to solve.
It's a true story.
Yeah. It's not an emotional thing. Wow. Right?
I'm really excited this sold out. I was just like, I figured that'd be a niche market for weirdos like me, but damn, we got so many fans. It's true. I even got a couple of the guys that are watching the feed sent me a message on the eBay page. Dude, thanks, great show. So lots of eBay sales too.
That's
So
awesome.
it's great. soaking in a tub tonight.
6 minutes is 6 minutes.
Another fracker. Okay, need a graveyard kiss. Graveyard kiss. Graveyard kiss.
You're stuck with me again.
We're gonna hold on first.
Okay, 4 o'clock. What do I have at 4?
I had you already plug your phone back in.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. Oh, yeah, thrilled.
Good.
Check you move more product at some whole shows.
You having fun? Good.
Can I see you for 10 seconds? 10 seconds.
I need you to 10 seconds, Mike.
I need you to answer a question. Let's go.
I saw that light back in there. Do you want a Coke or something?
No, I'm
If I have my phone, I can share that with the office.
How you doing?
We're elbow bumping.
Yeah,
You
that's
have
fine.
mine.
That's-
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. I'll share it out.
Okay.
Once we go live.
And if
Yeah,
you can
we'll
share it
just
out
over
in
here.
the tag in your class, then it should show up in our feed. Got it?
Okay.
Good.
All right. So we got, Mike, do you want to stand in front again and then, well, I guess whatever you're comfortable. I guess you don't have to be coming back and forth here. I'll just adjust the camera while we go on. So fast paces up.
I've never done anything like
It's
this.
a true color. All right, we got 2 minutes. 2 minutes before we go here. So yeah, Mike's just gonna fill questions. I'm gonna shoot questions out from here. If we got anything on here, and yeah. So once again, the topic is the art of the cover. And I'll share it out from my phone so you can get some people to join.
Yeah, I'll make that one my first comment, like, starting off. Hey, if you have any questions, please feel free to try them out. We might get to them later.
Go, you got it. You make a great moderator.
How'd you do with the online stuff so far? Pretty well?
Yeah.
I can imagine you did. I can imagine. I had no idea it would be that crazy.
We got a
His sellers
5,000
are,
subs, yeah.
are rabid.
Yeah.
His buyers, so I'm always thrilled. You don't have the travel costs and the
Right, yeah.
overhead, so it's like, this is kind of.
It's going.
It is so fast paced. It's almost
They're gonna
like
go
most
live
of
in
it's
like a
in
minute,
full
right?
Yep, 1 minute going on.
Are you guys live somewhere?
Yeah.
This one is gonna go live.
Right.
You're fine, you're fine. It's live, but
There's a couple people's names I saw pop up on my pages.
Mike McLean, and we're here at the Coffin Comics Con Online, and I'm here with two of Coffin Comics' most
Deadly.
coolest, most deadliest, most talented, many adverbs there. Creators Monte Moore and Mike DeBalfo. And I'd like to, before we start our Q&A session here, is the art of the cover and what makes a cover art piece just amazing. And before we start our presentation, I'd like to say to the people online, if you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the comments, and we'll try to get to them somewhere along the way in our discussion. Okay, so without further ado, we have Monte Moore and Mike DeBalfo. First of all, tell us a little bit about yourself for some of the people that may not know. Monte, why don't you go first? A little bit about your career, your background.
I've almost been in the industry for 30 years. I started in 1993. I self-published a comic with some buddies, and then within a few years I started doing small independent covers as a freelancer. So one of my first was Helena, back in the sort of bad girl days of comics and things like that, and then kind of slowly built a career from there. And then I would say for about 10 years I wasn't so active in comics, and most of the work I was getting hired for was in gaming. So I worked on Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, mostly games. So I would go to shows like Gen Con and things like that. And then, you know, over the last couple of years especially, painted covers and things like that have also had a little bit of a resurgence, because for a while they were very sort of out, and digital coloring, you know, was the good majority of the market. Now we found a nice balance, I think, between that, and so you see some of the painted artists, Lucio Perillo, myself, who are getting a little bit more work, which is great. And I started working again with Brian in 2014 when I was like, hey, I got a little, you know, rumor heard that Lady Death was coming back under Brian's helm, and I had done 3 covers for him at the very tail end of the Chaos era. So I had done 2 Purgatory covers and a Chastity cover. So didn't get to be a part of that for too long, and so ever since 2014 have provided, you know, maybe on the low end like 2 covers in a year, and maybe on the high end maybe 5 in a year. So I think since 2014 there's maybe 30 to 40 covers total in that time frame.
Amazing. And Mike, how about yourself?
I'm trying to be Monte Michael Moore.
We all are.
I'm trying to be him, so.
No, I've been in since 2009. I started with Zenoscope Entertainment in 2009. And, you know, things started to snowball after there. Mostly doing covers. I never did anything published, and broken as a cover artist through Zenoscope in 2009, and that's kind of what my career path has followed since then. After that, I worked with Aspen Comics for 2.5 years, I think, doing interiors on Soulfire Volume 4, and also covers for a bunch of their other series. And after that, that's when like the floodgates really opened up. And well, in between those two, I should say, I started working with Brian, and then the floodgates opened up, and I started working with other companies. And, mostly comic books and pinups covers is what I do, because I like drawing boobs.
I can remember when I saw his first art, I was like, who the hell is this guy?
Who's this punk?
There's a new sheriff in town. I was like, shit, the competition's getting
Well, that's how I feel now too. I'm watching all these new kids coming in now, because I'm 11 years in.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm watching these new kids come in, and I'm like, oh my god, like Jay Isoletto, I think it's how do you say
Yep.
Jay Isoletto?
Yep.
That guy's amazing.
Yeah,
He's
he
working
is.
at Zenoscope and Marvel, and he's all over the place. And
Yeah.
how do I, match that guy?
Yeah,
So-
it makes you bring your A game, and as a
Yeah.
cover artist and things like that, we always pay attention to
Yes.
other artists that are out there. You know, you may be putting a little folder that says badass stuff that I, want to take inspiration from,
Yeah.
and it helps you up your game, or maybe gives you an idea later on if that was really clever. How do I put my own spin on that, right? Because we're always trying to do that.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So to get kind of a behind-the-scenes look at making a cover, can you talk about the process of from either getting hired to do a specific cover, or are you inspired to draw an image and then present it to the publisher? Give me a bird's eye view of your process of from idea to the finished product of the cover. What's the
curious to hear
process?
yours, actually.
Well, I would say there's probably 2 or 3 different routes. You have the you can do whatever you want. Here's the character, have fun. And I think oftentimes we get that freedom with Lady Death. And he says, you know, I would like a cover with, and maybe with this theme. It's St. Patrick's Day, it's snow or whatever. And that's the total freedom, and here's a sketch, and it might be in the wrong direction. It might go, hey, love it, just go ahead and draw it up and you're good to go. And that's the absolute easiest. And you have in the middle, which is, here's these 3 criteria it needs to be. So if I'm doing the Seasons of the Abyss Art Nouveau cover, first I'm going out and getting some inspiration from Alphonse Mucha and other people who, you know, the sort of greats of Art Nouveau. And then I might put that reference aside and then work on the concept. And here's the ingredients it needs to have. So this week I was kind of pinging Brian and I was like, well, what are we going to do for spring? Like, this is the last cover of the series. And I was kind of scratching my head, like, what do I include that's spring that's different? And so for those who saw the reveal earlier, I decided to have a giant bear next to her instead of like a dire wolf or something like that. Because I told Brian, I was like, well, you know, bears come out of hibernation, like they're asleep all winter. So what if we do this, you know, war bear kind of thing coming out? So I would ping Brian and say, you know, do you want it to have armor and a harness and things like that? And I like getting that feedback from him because it gives me direction. Because he can visualize. He says, no, I want it to be more natural, right? It's spring. It's not we're going into war. It's kind of more new beginning. And so he said, no, just a badass bear, you know, natural, not a bunch of hoo-ha on it. It's like under her control. And so, but I might have 1 or 2 other questions, but he doesn't say the bear is doing X, Y, and Z, and it needs to look like this, and it has to be a Kodiak. And you know, some people just go crazy and they love wearing the art director hat, and a good portion of them have no business wearing the art director hat. And you get so constrained that it's so art directed to death. By the time it's done, there have been a few pieces that I have done, not for Coffin, but for other customers, and it is so stale by the time it's done because, well, the hand needs to get moved here, and the face needs to do this. And what you start out with, which is maybe a very flowing character that has great S shapes and things like this, and by the time it's done, they've sort of Frankensteined it into this thing. And I've even had a couple of customers at the end say, well, I don't like that, you know, what's happened here? And you want to say, you should have just let me, when I told you that the reason of her head shouldn't be up and the wrist shouldn't be like that, is you've sewn it all together and now it doesn't look natural.
Yeah, you got it in your own way.
Yeah.
You know, as an art director.
Right. And so I do pretty tight prelims, and a lot of people have seen some of the prelims that I do. And the secondary reason for that is as original art and as people who make a living selling originals, those originals have value to me as part of my income. And then the secondary part is also gives people buy original art that's less expensive than the sort of, we'll call it the big time original painting that might be unaffordable for some folks. And so all along the way, I'm always thinking of the process, and I'm always thinking of the fans and the client.
How about you, Mike?
I second like everything he just said. I mean, everything from like you were saying about you know, concept up to the selling the original art, trying to make different tiers for different people who can afford different things. Like I try to think about that too. The only thing I think that's the most different is the way I work, I feel like I'm more secluded than most other artists. Like I sit down and I start doing concepts and thumbnails, and it's so rare that I actually have an open dialogue with the editor or art director that I'm with at the time. Kind of like you were saying, hey, what about this and what about that? I don't know why I don't do that, and there's often times where I feel like I should. But a lot of times I sit down, I put some music on, I start listening to music, I just stare into space. Yeah, I do, and I start thinking of things, and I'll just start moving my pencil around, and the first 4 or 5, say, thumbnail poses will just be chicken scratch, warm-ups, and I'll keep doing those, and eventually they start evolving into an actual concept for something. Because, like you said, a lot of times I'm at the point where the editor will say, "Do whatever you want, have fun with it." Most people will do that. Every once in a while, they'll come in and say, like say Marat, for example, we did a Naughty Nice cover recently where he goes, "Naughty Nice cover, your only concept is teddy bears." And I was like, all right, that's cool. So, we just did a Naughty Nice with like teddy bears and things like that.
A lot of freedom.
Yeah, there was a lot of freedom, and almost to a point, like I'm saying, I should get into the habit of doing like what you're saying, open more dialogue and be more back and forth with the team. because sometimes I feel like my concepts do get stifled because I just get caught in my own head. Like I said, it's nothing selfish and it's nothing stubborn about it. I get in rhythm and I go for it, you know. And sometimes it holds me back because I'll shoot over 4 or 5 different thumbs or layouts to an editor, and he's like, I don't like any of these. You know, try it again.
Pretty rare though, I bet.
No, it would happen more often than you think. And I don't mind because they're small. You know, they're maybe 2 inches tall.
They're legit thumbnails, and I will tell you, there's
yeah.
not many people who do thumbnails. Even myself, I don't do as many thumbnails. But the reason why I reached out to Brian was some of it's just driven by the fear of not wanting to go in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
So what happened on the spring one that I just mentioned that ended up being a totally different figure was I had drawn the background and all that sort of stuff. And so it was already kind of on the direction. It was going to be the actual pretty detailed prelim. And I hadn't consulted him on ideas. And so I had her with an umbrella over the shoulder. And I was like, springtime, there's going to maybe be some rain, and this is like perfect. And then he wrote back and said, you know what? We actually have some pieces coming out that have umbrellas in them. And so I was like, well, how the hell would I know that? And so I said, you know, do you have any other suggestions? And I had done kind of a side, almost a little bit of a butt shot. When you do that kind of profile, you get a little bit of the side of the breast. Of course, you get the back side. And he said, you know, let's go back to a forward, front-facing figure coming out at you. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay. He said, that's usually what engages people the best. Rather than the side view is less engaged to the viewer, right? Because she's, you know, kind of doing this or going away from you. Whereas walking towards you, like we saw the success of the fans, like the winter solstice piece of that series. And she's literally just walking towards you with weapons in hand with this badass Art Nouveau background. And it's like, okay, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Keep the background. So I played up all the spring elements. So I added tons of foliage and vines coming up all around it. Had to erase the whole figure and then change it to a front facing. And then I was like, well, what about a bear? And so once I redid it, that's an example of Brian's art direction creating a much better piece. So I'm looking at it as an artist going, man, I'm glad I changed that direction. Because it's pretty badass. But had he just said, hey, I don't want to hurt Monte's feelings, and, you know, he's already spent a bunch of time on this. But he said, no, let's not do umbrella, let's change your facing forward. He didn't have a problem with that, and he knows what is going to be more successful. And a cover, and especially as a piece that's also going to be offered as a fine art print, which is a more expensive item, it's got to be successful, right? You don't want to pay an artist or to not have a successful piece, and then our ego can take a hit too if you go, man, how was that last cover, that last print? And you're like, you know, we have a bunch of copies if you want to buy some. And you're like, oh my god.
Well, you know, it's the original art sale. You have a hard time selling the original art.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Sometimes you're like, why do I still have this?
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Like, put it in the bargain bin of original art.
There's no such thing as bargain bin.
No. I do bargain bin. Yeah, I do bargain bin.
Here's what you have to flip that a little bit, and you have to say, you know, every day that a piece of original art is available there's a chance that tomorrow it won't be available. So the Mona Lisa is much more valuable today than it was 400 years ago, even though it's not for sale. So you have to say original art, you know, hey, the longer I have it, it doesn't mean I'm going to discount it. It means the more it's part of the Mike DeBalfo archive early.
I'm glad I talked to you about this.
You got to flip that.
I'm getting schooled. You guys are watching this happen.
You're like, this might be $400 today, but I hate to say it, but in like 6 months it's gonna be $500, and then in 7 months it's gonna be $800. So you better get in now.
No, that's great advice. Actually, we're kind of taking over the live stream with like, you know, schooling Mike DeBalfo and how to sell stuff.
It's marketing. It's part
no,
of the
it
marketing
makes sense.
thing.
I've never thought of it that way. Like I get sick of looking at it. Like I said, I'm like, why do I still have this thing? Get it out of here. You know, it's $100 now.
I'm just telling myself this. I don't know if it actually works.
But it makes sense. I don't know. I can run with that and see what happens.
So I heard a couple things. I heard ingredients. I heard this piece is successful. Taking that in mind, what is the job of a good piece of cover art? What's the job of a cover art?
Sell the book.
In hand. So before comics and me coming to this, my job, because I've done a number, probably 10 to 20 novel covers back in the day, fantasy, science fiction, things like that. And the job of the cover artist is to, in that sense, is to get the people who went into the bookstore at the time, pick up the book, turn it over. Then it's the job of the writer, right? Because I got it in their hand. And if you read that inside dust jacket or the back cover and it doesn't intrigue you, you're like, next, right? But to get it off the shelf, right? So you go into any bookstore 20 years ago before everybody slapping Photoshop, you know, even your romance, the best artists and illustrators in the industry were book cover artists. Doesn't matter if it was Frank McCarthy, Boris Vallejo, Frank Frazetta. Their job was to sell books. So our job is exactly the same today, only there's a really collectible nature to it, right? So back then there wasn't variant covers. You're like, hey, this is the cover to Tolkien's Fellowship of the Ring. This is the cover to Sword of Shannara. And everybody kind of knew it, and artists like Hildebrandt and stuff like that, they, you know, that's how they made their name for themselves. But the way I look at it is the job one is to get it in their hands, or in today's market, it's to get it in their collection.
Right.
Because a lot of these books we know will never be read, especially if you have multiple copies. So if we come out with the same book, or Mike's doing a cover for a new one coming out, or my Loco Hero book, or something like that, somebody might say, I want all four, I'm a completist, and they need all that. Or they might just collect their favorite artist. And the reason to have that is, even though I can do my own art, I also want to tap into Mike's fan base. And there's also, and I learned that really from Brian. And so all the artists that I'm working with on my project are actually all Coffin Comics Lady Death artists who I've liked and become friends with. And to say, how smart is this to capitalize on their fan base, my fan base, and combine it?
You're cross-marketing.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah. Because there'll be people who are like, yeah, I'm not really into Monte's work. It's more, you know, maybe more painterly or, you know, more realistic, and they like a more comic, I call it the mainstream sort of comic style of today, which is your very hip, you know, sort of luscious, and that's what I love too. It's just, you know, you want to capitalize on that and offer different things.
Yeah.
Because what appeals to one person might not appeal to somebody else.
Are there any ingredients that go across the board that you think make a good cover, no matter what art style, what the artist's style is? Are there ingredients to a cover that make it successful in grabbing that person's attention and pulling it off the shelf or pulling it offline for most of our readers?
There's a formula or anything like that.
I might have used to, but not anymore.
There's poses in certain compositions you can do that are like, that will sell, you know, as long as it's drawn well. But you don't want to do that every time.
Right.
You know.
And the thing is, I've seen successful pieces that are a floating head, a really nice head sketch. So, what if it's the Joker or it's Lady Death? And it just intrigues people. Whereas if you have a traditional art background like me and you're saying, well, I'm designing composition to have the rule of thirds and I want a dynamic right angle and I want to put this here and I need to have complementary colors. I mean, a lot of that stuff's kind of out the window, I think, these days, because you can break a lot of those rules and be highly successful. And, you know, I haven't seen a single cover or anything in the hall here at Coffin Comics that I don't think was successful. And my style and his style and Dan Mendoza's style and Yo-Yo's style are all extremely different. And so that's when you get all these different fans and flavors of everybody. It's like ice cream. You know, chocolate's pretty good, but so is strawberry.
And also between different artists and different styles, there's different rules that can come into play. Like someone like Dan Mendoza has such an exaggerated style.
Mm-hmm.
He can get away with a lot more, let's say, distortion and volume. Yeah, right, exactly. To put it lightly, volume. But even certain ways that he can pose his characters, you know, to such an extremity beyond what you and I can pull off with our styles.
It would probably look pretty silly on mine.
It would, right? Look, her back's broken. You know? But on Dan's style, it works because it's already so exaggerated consistently throughout the entire figure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like the rules that work for Dan might not necessarily work for you or me on this a cover for the same series.
Yeah, I remember when I started doing more work in comics, I had a problem with the kind of more exaggerated figure, the length of it, and especially in the sort of mid to late 90s when figures got really, really long, right? J. Scott Campbell comes along, Randy Queen, who was doing Darkchild, and these figures seemed like they were 11, 12 heads high, and it was like legs to here, you know, and then a little torso and this little head, and then you also had I call it the big feet era of the early 90s, like Joe Madureira and stuff like that, and they were able to pull off this really unique style. And for a long time, the strangest thing is like the feet were emphasized, and they were gigantic, but they were also really cool styles. Like Deity was one of the titles that really played into that kind of style, and so you just see that in comics, and there seems to be ebbs and flows of what's popular.
Yeah, when I first discovered Tony Daniel, he was on a book called The Tenth, and he was drawing in that manga Joe Mad style. And then I kind of fell off of him for a while, and then picked up whatever issue of Batman, and Tony Daniel drew it. I was like, it was like Jim Lee drew this.
Right.
It was the same guy. Like you're saying, the ebbs and flow.
Yeah.
He was working that to his advantage, following the trend.
Yeah, and I kind of do that at times too.
It's smart.
And even in the Seasons of the Abyss that I'm doing now, I'm doing Art Nouveau kind of backgrounds, but I'm really doing the comics figures, kind of more like a Campbell, DeBalfo, Mark Brooks, with Monte Moore mixed in. Longer figures, thin and athletic, not muscular, not realistic kind of proportions, and it works well with that look because Art Nouveau is very graceful and it's very long, so it would not behoove the art piece to say, oh, I'm going to do a totally realistic figure that's short, 5.5 foot tall Lady Death.
So are there any mistakes that you would see from maybe novices coming into the field? What's a pitfall of doing a piece of cover art that maybe new artists out there can avoid?
Anatomy. Bad anatomy. Yeah, study your anatomy.
Oh, so we have a guest to walk in. There's Lady Death.
Yeah, anatomy obviously is
especially,
a big one.
especially if you're doing girls.
Right.
Especially.
Yeah.
Girls.
Well, and just as an interesting thing in comics, so when I first started in comics, there was almost no titles other than Lady Death and a few others that were female driven, right? So everything that everybody bought was male characters, and the sort of exception was Wonder Woman. And even people didn't want to necessarily admit they collected Wonder Woman. In the last 20 years, you've seen this giant shift that if you weren't one of the big mainstay male characters, it has literally shifted over to a lot of your popular characters. You look at all the titles that people like us are doing as our own thing, usually you'll see that they're female characters. But I would say one of the other things that I see that I think is a problem is everybody does either too much of one style, and it's this sort of static, sort of headshot. They can't do this dynamic flowing figure that maybe the camera angle changes.
Or shortening and all
yeah,
that.
like a low up angle or a sword coming out. These are much more advanced things that are hard to do. And I see a lot of the work when I walk through Artist Alley today. I mean, oftentimes I'm not always inspired as I'd like to be because I see too much of the same thing. And I walk around and go, wow. In some ways the bar is actually lower than it used to be.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's a bigger world and it's more competitive. So there's people who are still getting to show their wares, which is great. But then I'm also hoping that makes them want to up their game, right? Because we're all competing for some of the same dollars and things like that. So I'd like to see people just push themselves harder, the novices, and say, don't be satisfied with what you're doing here. You're showing us this early work. Maybe you should have waited a year or two and then shown even better work, because you could never unshow your first work. And even when I show some of my early work, it absolutely falls into that category of, even though people are like, wow, this is so cool, it's early Monte Moore work, and I'm like, yeah, why'd you have to post that?
Can we not
Yeah.
do that publicly?
Yeah, so
I burned all my copies.
what I'm painting now for Lady
Yeah.
Death is very different than Helena or Lord's #1, where I was the airbrush colorist for the book, and it absolutely falls into the category of, here's all these pitfalls of what we did, everybody's kind of standing there like this,
Yeah, you bring up a good point. Like, try to break the mold. If you study what you for cover art specifically, to see what's going on right now. Because like we were talking earlier about the big feet and so on, trends in the styles. There's trends in how comic books are put out. Even interior art right now, we see. If you look at interior art on comic books, the panel pages are different than they were in the 90s. They're not quite as dynamic as they used to be, and that's just the trend right now, and it's fine. It works. It tells a story cohesively. Same thing with covers. You'll see trends in the covers of. Especially when you get to like these pinup covers, especially with the stuff that I do with like Zenoscope and so on and so forth. Not to say there's a formula in place, but there's a on brand going on there, and it's working right now. But if you can be that guy who's really good, who's new, and can come in and break that norm, you get recognized for that, and then you take the lead and you run with it.
Well, and a fresh style will get you noticed, and so what I always tell people is, don't draw just like Jim Lee, even if he's really good. Don't draw just like me or just like Mike or just like somebody else. But take things that you like from our style, integrate that into your own, whether that's a stylistic choice for anatomy or how to draw eyes. And even in my remarks and things like that, you'll see me doing different stuff. And I'm like, I'm going to draw the eyes bigger. They're going to be almond shaped. They're going to be cranked a little bit. And then I'm going to draw a straight one. And then I'm going to draw, and I try all these different things so that it's not always the same. And so I'm always trying to be better as an artist. And I'd like to see my suggestion for artists out there who want to maybe do what we're doing, or it's just a hobby. Take the best of what you like from some of your favorite artists and try to integrate that, but make it your own.
Yeah, I've always said hold yourself up to the brightest flame, in your opinion, and work yourself off of that. Everybody's got their own standards and their own, this, that, and the other thing. So whoever you think are like your top 5 people, like Monte's saying, pull from them. Don't emulate them, but use Campbell's eyes, Monte's lips, whatever.
Yeah, I was a D&D nerd. I still am. And so I can remember back in the day asking for a subscription to Dragon Magazine. And even though I played D&D, I hardly ever read anything, or hardly ever played the modules, but I wanted it for the art.
Yeah, man.
And the sort of 4 horsemen of the early gaming art stuff was Keith Parkinson, Larry Elmore, Clyde Caldwell. All these guys, they were my art heroes, and they still are. So that was who I aspired to be. And now to be in a lot of the same products and be friends with them as well is serious full circle nerd moment.
If you had to pick a comic book from, you kind of mentioned some inspirations for you. If you had to pick a comic book that you've seen that has really inspired your work, an image, what would that be? Like, I know that's that's a Sophie's choice kind of question. Maybe pick.
Are you talking about art or the actual character?
I would say the art, like a cover that's really like inspired you that you thought.
Actually, one of them's actually in here, and it's that art germ piece right there in the corner. And I've seen several others since then. And even though that is it's a digital piece, it has a lot of fine art elements to it. And
it's going to be the next one, Jimmy, over on the far corner.
Yeah. Yeah.
This one, art germ.
Yeah. And so, and I would say a couple of the other pieces that I've seen that kind of blew me away and make me want to be a better artist is Sun K. And they're painterly enough, although I think they're done digitally, I'm not sure. But if you're good enough at it and you can sort of fool the eye, and maybe they're paintings, but they're really well done. And even as an artist who has a great support from the Fiends, it makes me want to think, man, I better up my game or I'm not going to get asked at all. Like, how come Brian doesn't call me anymore? And so
you find out your old news when it's too late.
Right. Yeah. And so there's a number of artists, even Frank Cho, I like his work a lot because his traditional artwork, he does these crazy ballpoint pen illustrations. And he can do folds in clothing that harkens back to like 1800s inkers like Booth, Franklin Booth, and some of these other guys that are just ridiculous. And there's a classic way that if I'm doing folds or something, I may go out to the internet and be like, Frank Cho, classic artwork, and I'll look at it for a few minutes and I'll kind of say, what am I doing wrong? What am I missing? Because I'm drawing it all straight, and I'm like, I need some of this and some of that, and you break it down and you take inspiration from those. So those are a couple of the ones that I kind of look up to and aspire to integrate some of their badassedness into what I'm trying to do.
I'm trying to get more into design lately. So I was just talking to somebody outside about this. The Greg Capullo era Spawn covers were all amazing, every single one of them. The design, even if they were super simple, the design that he did on those covers, the layouts, the compositions, so on and so forth, they're all incredible. So that's what I've been trying to focus more on with my work now, because not that I feel like I've peaked with anatomy and all that other stuff, I just feel like I haven't put enough of an emphasis on design. But also, I'll drop his name again, Jay Anceletto. Like, I'm amazed with what that guy's doing right now. I love his work colored, but I love going through his Instagram and looking at his pencils. Black and white, super shaded. So good, yeah. He's I like the dynamics in his covers right now. I like the way he does like we were talking about, the foreshortening and turning the figure and the camera around, and not just doing the straight up and down. My arm's coming at you. I got foreshortening, kind of shortcut. Yeah, and you'll see these covers these guys draw, and it'll be Nightwing going through and has the entire city in the background. I'm looking and going, how in the hell did they draw that? Because it looks perfect from the perspective that they're at.
And somebody like me who's usually more tied to realism, I'm like, where's the reference on that? I get the fact that you could do the city in the background and it's a drone or a helicopter shot, helpful for foreshortening, or you just do your own with 2-point perspective, that kind of thing. But I really applaud the guys who do dynamic action and dynamic angles, because that's a weakness of mine.
Me too.
Yeah.
So when you use the term design, can you define what you mean by that when you say, "Oh, I have to work on my design of a cover"? How is that different than working on the anatomy?
It's about leading the viewer's eye through the image partly. I guess that's how I describe it, right?
Yeah, composition.
Composition.
It's kind of the design aspect. So whether that's...
It's placing shapes in a certain order that looks balanced and pleasing to the eye, and subconsciously pulls the viewer's eye through the entire image in almost like a repetitious circular motion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what design boils down to.
And, sometimes if I'm looking at, I keep folders of different sort of poses and things like that, and I might have one that just says seated poses, because maybe I want to do a throne piece or something like that. Sometimes you even look at the reference, even though it's a real photo, and you go, that won't work in art.
Yeah.
So whether it's the way the legs cross or something like that, that ends up 2 lines come together and they make a weird tangent, or one disappears behind the other, you're like, oh, that's cool, and then you go, no, that's not going to work. But then you might see just the top part of that and say, what if I took the top part of this, but then I crossed her legs, and then what if the sword's across that? And a lot of times for me, it's like pieces of the puzzle, and I just start out with one, and then I kind of build around it, and 3 or 4 hours later, even if I don't even have much of a sketch, it's evolved. And suddenly there's the bear, and there's the ivy, and there's these other elements, and you put it all together, and you go, ooh, that's going to be fucking cool. Like, I want to stop all this other stuff and draw that.
Sometimes you just know.
Yeah. So composition plays a big point. And I think I think there's fewer people now that are maybe studying that because they're going right to like digital classes and everything's online and that sort of thing, and they're maybe not spending as much time on the fundamentals, as we call it.
Which bad design can make any image, especially a cover, fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
You could be the best illustrator in the world. You could have perfect anatomy, cool dynamics, all that stuff. But if your composition sucks, most of your shit's gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
If it's not balanced and so on and so forth. Like I'm friends with a graphic designer right now. That's who I'm tutoring, and she's teaching me a lot about design and balance with her graphic design background. She's like, "Oh, this is hierarchy and so on and so forth," and she's throwing terms at me that I've never heard before. Like I never thought about hierarchy. I guess you're right. I guess I could put that into this. It should have an effect, right?
Yeah.
So
and with the digital coloring today too, there's a lot of colors who are so good.
Yeah.
They are just saving the bacon of a piece that can kind of be ho-hum.
Yeah. And
you might look at it and go, not the greatest pencils I've seen. And then you give it to like one of the top 3 or 4 like Coffin colorists, Ulamos, CC, Sanju, Sabine, any of these, and then you see back the finished piece and you're like, holy crap! That's amazing.
I'll say on the record, Sanju saved my butt so many times over the last 10 years. I didn't ask. He's just doing his thing, and that's how good he is at what he does. He's just like I had to phone it in, or I ran out of time, or like you were saying earlier, like somebody just gets in your way and the piece doesn't come out as well as you want it to. Sanju sometimes comes in and just goes, he splashes a little magic on there, and it's a sellout cover.
You're like, alrighty then, he's on the Christmas list.
Yeah, right, exactly. Exactly. I'm gonna fly out to India and shake his hand. So thanks, Sanju, man. You saved me a lot.
Yeah.
It seemed like you're kind of going into some of the challenges that you face, like you're running out of time or whatever the case. Can you think of a particular Coffin cover or any cover really that has posed a really big challenge and that was a difficult hurdle for you to come over?
You go first, I have to think.
I got to think too. There have been a couple because I always want to make Brian happy. Brian's always been really good to his artists, and since day one with Brian, he's always been above and beyond and always an exceptional guy. So when it comes to Brian, I try to put more thought and more effort into things. So there has been several times where I'm like, that's not good enough, that's not good enough. I won't even show it to Brian until I think it's good enough. So I'm with Monte. I got to sit here and think. One particular, there's been a lot.
But what was the hurdle when you said that's not good enough? What was it that made it? I know this is very organic. Drawing this picture, so it's kind of hard to differentiate. But what was it that was the hurdle? What made it not good enough?
Oh man, that's a good question. How do you explain that? My own intuition as an illustrator. Like a lot of times, I trust my own artistic direction over somebody who's art directing me. Not every single time, but a lot of times I go into that way, and I say, I'll be drawing and sketching something out, and I say, that doesn't look good to me. That's probably not going to look good to anybody. Maybe I'm sorry, it doesn't look good to me. I don't want to submit it to my editor and have him give it the green light, and then a piece comes out. Right, I'm stuck with it. So to say exactly what it is that seems to fall out of place, it's hard to answer because it's all subjective to the individual piece itself. Right. Everything's a little different. It could be the pose. It could be something as simple as the way the hair is flowing in a thumbnail layout. So many things come into play. But there has been, I'll say specifically, a lot of Coffin covers that have been challenging just because I want to bring the A game every single time. And it's never because if Brian is getting in the way or anybody else on the team is getting in the way. I'm getting in my own way. I can't think of. There's been so many Lady Death covers that I've done. I can't remember all of them. So that's part of the challenge too.
Do you have any in mind, Monte, of particular something that challenged you?
There's been one or two times, and this is kind of an ongoing issue sometimes if I'm drawing so fast and I'm not paying attention to kind of the level of the eyes and or the size. So there's been a couple of pieces where even in the prelim or the finished piece where I've actually needed to go back and then I go, what do you mean the eyes are off? And you look at it and go, oh my God, those are really, and one will be slightly higher than the other and then one's kind of cocked and, and it's doing this weird thing and he gets it right away.
Yeah.
And then there was another one that was an early cover where unfortunately it was the same thing, but it was with the breasts. And so he kind of did like here's what this one's doing and here's what this one's doing. And because I had already done it in Photoshop, or I had done the painting and it needed to be, the deadline was like that day. Basically what I needed to do was sort of like clone the section and then just sort of warp and shape and adjust and then just do a little digital smoothing. And I'm competent enough, I have a Cintiq and a stylus and all those nifty things that I could do that in a matter of minutes. A lot quicker than I could do it and change the entire painting. And so there are times when my anatomy is slightly off and I'm either a little too cavalier or fast with it and I'm not just staring going, is this anatomically right? Because the thing you have to remember too is depending on what the character's doing, if she's doing this, everything else is moving. Yeah, and so people will say, oh, that doesn't look right. And you're like, her arm's over her head. One is going to be higher than the other and it's pulled backwards. That's what anatomy does. But in comics, a lot of time we forgive that. And we just go, yeah, that looks weird when I draw it for real. So you try to find a happy balance between comic book, which is fantasy world, and the real world, but still making the anatomy work.
Yeah.
So there's been a few times where I've had anatomy problems that I get that other people have pointed out. And one of my friends, Matt Haley, who's an artist, is like, man, you always got a problem with the eyes. And it's true. Sometimes I look back at early work on my sketchbooks and I'm like, those eyes are wrong, that eye's off. And they won't be looking in the perfect direction because I just drew them so fast. And when somebody points that out later on, you're like, oh, I better pay a little more attention. And every so often I'll post something online and he'll go like, you got the eyes right. I'm like, thanks, Matt.
So I'd like to maybe look into our online viewers if there's any shout outs or questions for our two artists here.
And just heads up, we got 6 more minutes here, so before we're up.
You guys know where babies come from? We have the answers.
So okay, for Demon Phil, how much character research do you do to accomplish the level of covers you produce? So I guess for a different character research.
For me, not a whole lot for myself. I've been working with the same companies for a long time. Not to say I know their characters very, very well, but I know them well enough. I have an idea of who they are enough to pull it off. It's always difficult when they bring in a new character and like the book hasn't been drawn yet, and they're like, oh, this is my character or whatever, Shiva, and you're the first guy to draw her. I need you to design her. Like that's when it gets tough.
Right, and if it ends up looking like Sheena, and they go, you said it looks like Jungle Girl. And they're like, yeah, but that looks too much like Jungle Girl.
I'm like, that happens all the time.
But how does it different than Jungle Girl? They're like, well, she doesn't have a spear.
Right.
Like, oh,
right.
Okay, well, just tell me that in the beginning so I can say, well, do you want her swinging on a vine, or do you, can she have something else? And so you want to ask those basic questions that occur. But I'm doing a cover for Brian right now for La Muerta. And I have drawn La Muerta before, but not in this particular outfit. So in the assignment, it makes it easy for me. Brian says, here's the deadline, here's what I'd like. And he'll have a concept in mind. And it could be a piece of reference from anything from a Molly Hatchet cover, right, that was like for Zeta or something, to something else that says, I like these 3 figures like this. I need these 3 like this, like general placement, not, you know, where the hands are. But then he'll include, here's the reference, here's the deadline, here's it, go nuts. And so there's very little art direction, but there's enough that you're not going in the right direction. If he says, here's the setting, you know, it's a graveyard, it's a train station, here's the characters that are in it, they're doing this. It needs to tell a visual story, but I think we all like it when there's shove in the right direction, but it's not so constricted.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, a few breadcrumbs for us to follow, and
there's been a few guys I've done commissions for, and they'll send 3-page descriptions,
Oh,
and usually you just, you know, when you're earlier in your career, you don't say no to anything, and then later on you're like, you know what, I'm probably not the right guy for this, unless you can just visualize as you're reading it and go, oh, I got that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're fine, but it's a lot of times it's really hard to please that particular client or customer when it's so constrictive that they're like, no, I told you that they were touching shoulders. You're like, yeah, but they're just like 2 inches apart. No, they need to be touching shoulders. You're like, oh.
There is that guy.
Right.
So how long do you give yourself when you do a cover? Is there like a standard time you guys give?
I always give myself more time than I need, and then actually work on it for too short a period of time. I always give myself about 4 days, because I can knock out something really good in 4 days. I know that, and work at my own pace. But I'm an artist. I don't work 4 days in a row. So
I do.
Do you really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm so bad about it sometimes. Really, I can get a good cover done in 2 days. I could. That's usually what I give myself. I work well under pressure. I learned that when I was going to school. That if I don't have pressure on me, I can't sit still. I have the attention span of a housefly. So I give myself 4 days, and I actually work 2 to 3 days.
And is there like a certain hour that you do during those days?
All
or is it just
day. My schedule is so crazy. No, I get up, I take my kids to school, I come home back around like 9 o'clock in the morning, and then I work all day on and off until I just can't stay awake anymore. And that's what works for me. I've tried to be more rigid with my schedule. I've tried to be more disciplined in all that and be more structured, and it doesn't work for me. I am a creature of chaos.
Yeah, and I think from what I've talked to, most artists that I know are nocturnal. You know, we're all Batman, and you know, people will message me like, "Dude, you're up at 2 o'clock in the morning." I'm like, I just stepped away from the art table. You know, and sometimes it just has to do with your workload.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love it if I had perfect work-life balance, but I also don't want to say no to jobs. I can be higher output, and I don't have kids, so I don't have that particular obligation. And so I can say, hey, I'm going to work an extra 4 hours tonight. And I would say most of my covers take between 25 and 40 hours. And sometimes if I have to drop the hammer, I can do that in 2.5 to 4 days, because I often work 15 hours a day. And I won't stop working until then. And from the time I get up, you know, unless I go to the gym or something, I'm probably working. Doesn't mean I'm doing art, but it could be marketing, email. I did hire somebody this year to actually help with that.
That's where not to get off subject, that's where I've fallen recently. It's like, that's to answer part of your question. Like 1/3 of my day is just correspondence with, you know, different kinds of editors and people.
Shipping.
And I really like to keep in touch with my followers, you know. Not necessarily one-on-one all the time, but if I post something, I like to respond.
Yep.
So I consider that working, even if
It is. It's marketing.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why you're successful.
I think so, because I don't draw that well.
I beg to differ.
So we got 2 minutes left. Here's one last question from Haley. Do you guys each have your favorite cover that you've ever done? What comes to mind that you?
It's like choosing your favorite kid. I say I did a cover for Grimm Fairy Tales number 61 back in 2010, and as far as I know, it's the first topless cover outside of like the porn industry comic books to hit, you know, San Diego Comic Con. And
what year was it?
I want to say it was 2010. Grimm Fairy Tales number 61 was in the scope. Me and Ebas did 2 topless covers, and before that we were all doing, you know, the teaser stuff. And that's when we dropped the first topless one, and after that, then it's like chaos ensued.
Oh.
But I was just really happy with how that cover illustration came out at the time. Despite the fact that it was topless or not, it just happened to be. But the fact that it has that benchmark attached to it, it's cool to me.
Yeah, I wonder if that kind of changed the industry.
And like I said, I as far as my knowledge goes, I could be wrong, but as far as my knowledge goes, there was a lot of teaser stuff through Top Cow and all those guys, and the J Company was doing really risque variants, but none of them were topless yet.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, I think it was 2010.
Because I think one of the first ones I did was A Penny for Your Soul, and then it was, you know, Naughty and Nice and some Zenoscope and stuff. But I don't remember if any of the Zenoscope ones I did were.
If it was before 2000, I was gonna say 10. No.
I don't think so. I think this was more like 14 or 15. So I think it was a couple years after.
At that point, then
Yeah. So, I mean, there's definitely some favorites within the Lady Death realm, and some I like better than others. But I guess honestly, the one I'm most excited about is whatever the next one is.
Yeah, that's true.
Because that's what gets me fired up. I mean, I've got 2 or 3 covers that I'm working on for Brian, and I'm anxious to actually start them. And that means I know that I'm not burnt out as an artist, because I'm like, man, I can't wait to reveal and show this and see it successful. And I love selling original art. So even almost 30 years into the industry, I still love being a commercial artist.
Yeah, me too. It's always something to move forward.
All right, so I'd like to take this moment to thank our cover artists here for their time and insights. And I would also thank those who've tuned in and with their great questions. Stay tuned for more Coffin Comic Con madness. We'll be back at 5. All right, thank you, everybody.
You guys, I think there's another raffle right now.
Right?
I think there's another raffle.
There's definitely a theme.
We got some McLeans, we got a Mike, we got Monte.
We got an MM, an M.
We're gonna. Oh, lady. Which one is Lady? I don't know which one's Lady Death. What happened? What happened? Oh, stop. Sorry. Waffle? I think it's a. Oh, it's a waffle. Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be a great Sunday. Raffle.
Raffle. This is before the grand prize raffle.
Yeah. This is the. You guys, this is the last waffle before the super waffle. Here, do you want to say hi to Lady Death?
Hello, everyone.
You want to see her eyes? Oh my God! I saw him put him in. It was freaky.
I know, if you guys tuned into Comic Lady Death yesterday, you got to see him go in.
So we're gonna wait till Jimmy comes back live, Lady Death, right on.
Here we go.
Almost.
Waffle.
Man says hi, Lady Death.
Hey, hi. Man has been enjoying himself.
Yeah, yes. He's been the man. Get it?
Secured.
I guess not. I
Very
didn't.
secured. See, this shows this is a
Like
great
now,
place
Waffle.
to store their comic books in. This thing is legit.
One thing we're waiting on is we're gonna add some of the orders that have been.
We already added them.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, sorry.
Yay!
We got ahead of ourselves.
All right, cool. So what we're gonna do, this represents the raffle for everyone who's placed an order last couple sessions, and so this will be the final raffle before the grand prize raffle.
Grand prize.
Would you mix these up?
This
a little
one.
bit?
You
But
get to do the whole
that's it.
Oh,
That's in hour and a half, somewhere around there. Grand prize. Oh, that must be the one. No, no.
Raffle.
Raffle.
Chris Mefford won too.
Coffin Comics Con Online 2020 Saturday. Still have more stuff coming up. We just completed a great panel with the art of the cover. It was bananas. But as promised, here's the raffle. Coming up, we have more live selling. We have the Super Jam at 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And then at 6:30, we're gonna do the grand prize raffle.
What?
We're gonna do the closing event ceremonies.
What?
And then we're all gonna get
Finally, we get to
crazy
sacrifice the
on our own time. Shot. Yo,
We're sacrificing a chicken, apparently.
For those of you, for the raffle, I'm going to show you.
From the
Julian
muerta.
the Hooligan's going to show you. We got the Dawn McTague prints.
So angry.
Now, I'd just like to point out, Lady Death, that Coffin Comics has not punked out when it came to like providing cool raffle prizes. I want to acknowledge the raffle team This is 75 hand-selected people from around the world for product sampling. But that's not true. It's really Francisco Pulido and Brandy Reese. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for keeping it fresh and keeping it cool.
We like it fresh.
That's right. Let's keep it fresh. Here we have
I got
the
it.
AF Chaos Rules, the Comics Market Edition featuring the killer Bella Pentalina cover. This is the first story in the new era. And then the La Muerta.
One of my faves.
Super dope, limited to so-and-so.
First story.
Limited to so-and-so.
I'm so tired.
70 hours in. So and so.
What's my name?
We spelled a lot of ink this weekend.
This is, it's cool. So this is extra little stretch goal pack with a whole variety of goodies.
So-and-sos.
Cards, stickers, so-and-so. It seems like we're always putting a balloon in
Yeah,
there.
hey.
And gotta get that balloon. So
Gotta get that air out.
And we go baggy. So without further ado, we're gonna have
All
Lady
right.
Death pick. And then Julian the Hooligan can read the name.
Whoa.
Okay,
Here we go. Here we go.
Here we go. Are your eyes any better than mine, Julian the Hooligan?
Let's see. We got David Simonton.
That goes in there.
In there. Bink.
David
Bing.
Whoa.
All right, everybody.
70 hours, 12 minutes.
Calm. Just tired. And happy. All right, cool.
You guys are great.
Thank you. Here, Fran.
You did.
David Simonton.
Thank you, lady.
Now let's do the same thing for the club. Can I get a hey?
Hey.
That's right. Now can I get a
He's sick. I've heard 1,000,006, but Brian. What's up? What about the wolf? Remember wolf?
And then can we get a
And a Joel? Joel! Oh, there you go, Joe.
Yeah. And everybody cried.
No crying.
So we're having a good time over here at Coffin Comics. Nothing can stop the coffin. The casket keeps on rolling, baby. So here we go. Got the mixed up the club members. We're gonna have Lady Death. Thank you for being here, Sapphire Noble Lady. Big up over here. We got Mike, Mad Mike. Hell yeah. They don't call him Mad Mike for nothing. So
He's very angry.
I only call him Mad Mike. So, without further ado, Lady Death, place your order. Oh my gosh, we have to place it up. What are we doing? Sun K, Empress Edition. Sun K. What? Hell yeah. That was a beautiful image from 2015. And then we got the
Oh, wow. Woo! Where's the little alarm sound? Woo!
Do we need an alarm sound for that?
I don't know.
I think we do.
Here we go. I think so.
There we go. And then finally, we got a classic here. A classic.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Old school.
Odyssey trade paperback. The sheer variety is incredible that is
Sickening.
provided to you by Coffin Comics. And of course, the goodie bag, including tattoo, beer cozy, bookmark, pencil, and guitar pick. What? All right, Lady Death.
Pick that name.
You can do it.
All right. And do you need some help? Yes.
Ooh, we have Bruce Kempt. K-E-M-P-T.
So, wait a minute. Am I in the Springsteen concert? That was it's all like Bruce. So now we got Psycho Sean's going to come down and tell you all about CGC.
CGC has been blowing it up. Many orders for the CGC, many orders for CGC. That is great. You know, some of you have been putting the CGC comments into your actual order. That's fantastic. That works just as well. Others have been emailing me at inquiries@coffincomics.com, and that's even worked superb. I've gotten through most of you. I'm still working on it, right? So I'll be responding. Yeah, I will be responding to your messages all throughout the week, so don't worry about it. Don't be afraid. If you send it out to inquiries@coffincomics.com, it's gonna get answered. You're gonna be taken care of for our CGC requests. And then I'll start invoicing these and to start taking care of it. Anytime from right now until the next, next Friday, next Saturday, we've got all those invoices out. But again, any questions, just let me know.
Yeah, and just want to contextualize this for everybody from a customer service standpoint. We are amazed by the sheer volume of requests, and we're processing them. Please be patient. We are known for taking care of folks, but it's going to take a little extra time. We have a Lady Death Malevolent Decimation Kickstarter going and custom inquiries there. So we are on your side. We are your team. And Psycho Sean, he's crazy for customer service.
Psycho!
I love it.
I can't wait to rewatch my thing.
All right, look, this is how it's gonna roll. Again, I was saying, like, I'm gonna come back at you in a couple minutes. I'm gonna be with the Clan McDonald live selling group. We're gonna take a break. Then at 6 o'clock, we come back for what we call the Psycho Sale, where we try to get all the artists for the kids.
Psycho Sale!
That's right. Stealing the kids' day.
Psycho Sale!
Super Jam!
Super Jam!
Super Jam.
That's how psycho it is.
So, Brian, then we should be able to take a 1 hour break and come back. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. I'm suggesting for the sickos to do that. Just
All right, you guys, go eat, do something. We'll come back.
Be back in a couple
1
minutes.
hour, the final push. That's what she said. And the giveaway.
There you go.
Okay? We'll be back. I'm going to charge up, guys. See you then.
Charge